This broadcast is under the direction and is copywritten by Champion Sports Radio. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or use of the audio stream, and any and all other use of the accounts of this broadcast without the direct written consent and permission of Champion Sports Radio is strictly prohibited. All rights are reserved by Champion Sports Radio and ChampionSportsRadio.com. This is a presentation of Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcasts.
Well, ready or don't, District starts tonight that grueling 8-week schedule that makes up District 6A. Gets underway right here in Plano tonight with the Plano Wildcats hosting the Hebron Hawks. Hi again, everybody. We do greet you live from Collin County in Plano's John Clark Field as Champion Sports Radio proudly presents continuing coverage of Hebron Hawk football for the 2014 season. We bid you a very pleasant good evening, unseasonably cool. While the calendar says we have yet to hit mid-September, the temperature outside certainly feels like a mid-season district game with temperatures this afternoon not even getting out of the 70s. Our game time temperature, mid-60s, perhaps below that. It is the Hebron Hawks in town. I mentioned District 6A opener. The Hawks 0-2, losing a couple of weeks ago. The season opener at Coppell to a tune of 52-30 to the homestanding Cowboys. Hebron debuted a week ago at Hawk Stadium, the home opener, and came in second in a very competitive ball game to the Lion Raiders down from Denton. That Game 2 final, Denton Lion 27. And Plano 21. Meanwhile, the kiddos out here tuning up in the maroon tops and over the maroon trousers. The Plano Wildcats, they are at level 1 win and 1 loss in the non-district competition. They opened up on the road, losing to John Tyler at Rose Stadium, 30-12. The week 0 opener, John Tyler's Lions defeating the Plano Wildcats. And by the way, that John Tyler Ball Club has elevated themselves to a number 1 state ranking in Class 5A at 2-0. But Plano rights the ship a week ago here in the home opener for the Wildcats at Clark Field, defeating Irving MacArthur's Cardinals by a couple of touchdowns at 34-20. So 0-2 Hebron versus 1-1 Plano, but throw it all out the window. It's just now the beginning of the games that count early on here in the 9-team district that is known as 6A, and this the league opener. Permission to broadcast tonight's high school football game has been granted to Champion Sports Radio by the Plano and Louisville Independent School Districts and the University Interscholastic League. No other broadcast of this origination is permitted without written authorization from Champion Sports Radio, from the Plano and the Louisville Independent School District, and the UIL, the University Interscholastic League, have been governing extracurricular activities here in the Lone Star State, well, for quite a while, celebrating a 105th birthday here in the 2014-2015 season. The Champion Sports Radio production crew on hand tonight, a bit abbreviated. I usually share a microphone with my partner, Pete Nielsen. He's otherwise occupied for the moment, so we bring in Trent Lynch, who's usually a third member of the broadcast crew, but busy tallying the stats tonight. And Trent, welcome in. Glad to have you along as the color analyst for the ball game. The other half of that team, Lynch, is here. Weston Lynch behind the scenes, acting as our remote engineer and producer of the ball game tonight from beautiful Clark Field. Welcome in, Trent. I've worked here for so long. I feel so at home here at Clark Field. A marvelous facility, opened in 1977. I don't think we'll fill it up with 14,700 seats here, but I do anticipate a healthy crowd coming out here, still supporting this Wildcat tradition.
Well, thank you, Brad Denton, and appreciate the welcome to the broadcasting this evening. And it is a proud tradition and history here in Plano. Several state championships from the time they were a small school up through 5A, now this year in 6A, but a proud program that definitely will bring the growl of the Wildcat from the end zone and the fans within the seats.
It's going to be fun. I expect Hebron to travel across the way. Of course, the Louisville ISD and Hebron's on the far east side of that big Louisville Independent School District. The boundaries butt up with the Plano ISD. Of course, Plano West, they're immediately next to Hebron, but not far to come across over here into Collin County, and I expect a good contingent of folks over there in the royal blue supporting the Hebron Hawks. And it's a Hebron Hawk ball club that has just been a big play or two away from competing. The opener, I mentioned, bowing 52-30 at Coppell. Much tighter than that. Coppell separates themselves late.
Twice the Hebron Hawks were inside the 1 yard line and could not push it through on fourth down. Would have been a completely different ball game potentially if they could have gotten those scores across the goal line.
Both of those in the first half of play, and as I mentioned, Coppell kind of separates late and wins it by 22. Different story last week with Hebron digging the hole early, falling behind by 20 in the second quarter, and it just proved to be a bigger hole than they could crawl all the way out of. But they competed very handsomely and ended up losing by half dozen, 27-21.
Yeah, the Hebron Hawks really struggled for a little bit with their pass defense, especially in the first half. Tightened it up in the second half, got the run game rolling, and brought it very close. But Denton Ryan, heck of a ball game for them as well offensively.
Yeah, they played very well. I think we'll see both teams feature far more running than passing tonight, and we again see a very good running back. If you're Hebron, looking at the other side, a kiddo that wears a deuce on the maroon jersey, and Brandon Stevens. We've seen him before through a couple of ball games, averaging 8.5 yards per carry.
He's been a thorn in Hebron's side for a couple of years now, and he's a great runner. He's strong, he's quick, and Hebron Hawks are going to have to be ready to stop that running game of the Plano Wildcats, which they struggled with a little bit last week against another tough runner for Ryan.
Trent, before we go to this initial pregame timeout, every week one of the District 9 5A entries are going to have the bye. This week it's Plano West, but other than that, a full slate of District 6 6A games.
And every one of these games counts, Brad. As you said earlier, this is the first week of district play, and in a 9-team district, you got to come out of the gates fast, and you want to get that initial win because every week is a fight for a playoff spot.
I think after what McKinney Boyd did in upsetting Coppell a week ago, there'll be a lot of interest in what happens with the Boyd Broncos tonight and the Allen Eagles.
Let's see how that running game goes against those Allen Eagles. And then you also have Flower Mound at Plano East. You've got Louisville playing Flower Mound Marcus. Some interesting games there. Flower Mound with a victory last week. Don't really know what Flower Mound Marcus is bringing to the table this year against those Louisville farmers.
By the way, District 6 6A through 2 weeks of non-district competition end up a level, 9 wins and 9 losses. Only 2-7 in week 1, but they reversed that in week number 2, winning 7 of the 9 ball games a week ago. The Hebron Hawks are on Champion Sports Radio. This broadcast of Louisville Independent School District football is sponsored by Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Plano. That's where everything they provide automotive, along with superb customer service, whether it's a new or a used Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, or Ram. From Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Plano, you're going to get a reliable and very stylish new car at a price that doesn't break the bank. By Whirly Ball, with 2 locations to serve you, Plano and Hearst, and both have leagues that are forming right now. You're invited to visit them on whirlyball.info. By In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. Call 972-851-7888 or online at incommandbroadcasting.com. By Point of Origin Design. a full-service design and logo creation company offering a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. Online, you'll find them at pointoforigindesign.com. By shockboxdfw.com. Be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head impact that could result in a concussion. Visit shockboxdfw.com today. By the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra and the new GDYO Jazz Institute. Enjoy a cultural experience. Do it with your family and do it without breaking the bank. Visit gdyo.org for more information. A reminder that Hebron Hawks football is a presentation of Champion Sports Radio. On Twitter at Champion Sports, Facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, and of course online at ChampionSportsRadio.com. Along with Trent Lynch, Brad Denton inviting you to stay tuned. Our pregame programming will continue from John Clark Field as we check in and visit with both head coaches. A 15th-year head coach in Brian Brazel of the Hebron Hawks, and now in year number 7, the Wildcat head man, J. Don McCullough. All that up next. First, this initial pregame timeout on Champion Sports Radio.
The end is here. To get Huffines' lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huffines' model year-end sales event at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Take your choice and pay just $269 a month on new Chrysler Town & Countries or Dodge Grand Caravans. Or take your choice and pay just $329 a month on new Chrysler 300s or Dodge Chargers at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huffines has it.
In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. In Command Broadcasting provides a wide array of turnkey video production and streaming services. In Command services include filming of sporting events, season highlights, school graduations, corporate infomercials, and documentaries. In Command streams your sporting event or company function over the internet live or on demand. Call 972-851-7888 to raise the energy of your next event. In Command Broadcasting, 972-851-7888.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores! 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that nearly 4 million brain injuries occur every year due to sports in the U.S. They also estimate that 70% of concussions go unreported. Not identifying concussions early can be devastating, especially if the athlete continues to play with symptoms. Catching hard hits fast is critical, and that's why you need the Shockbox Helmet Impact Sensor. The Shockbox is a small sensor that easily attaches to most football, lacrosse, and hockey helmets and instantly sends a signal to a smartphone on the sidelines when the player has taken a hard hit that puts them at higher risk for injury. The free app receives data from the sensor, displays information about the impact, and even walks the user through a concussion assessment. The app also logs symptom and impact data for future medical use. Visit ShopboxDFW.com to learn more about the Shockbox Impact Alert Sensor and determine if it is the right option for your child. Be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head impact that could result in a concussion. Visit ShockboxDFW.com today. ShockboxDFW.com.
We know we love each other. Presented by Whirly Ball, pregame programming continues from Clarkville. We're pleased to be joined by J. Don McCullough, 7th-year Plano Wildcat head coach. And J. Don, certainly congratulations in order for your Wildcats. A very nice bounce-back win here last week over Irving MacArthur, 34-20?
Thank you.
It was. Now, offensively, your ball club features one of the really good underclassmen running back in junior Brandon Stevens. And we've seen Brandon for a couple of years, and doggone, he just keeps getting better.
he's a good player. He's just one of, he's, just part of the team, and it takes the line, it takes the quarterback, it takes the receivers. It's a team effort. But Brandon's done a good job for us. He's got a lot of character, so usually kids with character continue to get better. So,
Jadon, I know it takes a roster on 11 at a time. That 11 you're throwing out there defensively under coordinator Clint Stewart. Obviously, the blueprinters, defensive tackle Sam Tecklenburg, safety Cody Farhat, lead, but overall your defense a very early season bright spot.
Yeah, we've been playing well on defense. We'll see what happens tonight. Hebron's the kind of team they're just going to keep bringing it. They're going to keep coming. So we'll see if we can stop them. They're a very physical team, and they're going to bring it to you. So we'll see if they, it's going to be one of those type of games.
This whole Hebron series dates back to your rookie year back in 2008, and every year since, seventh meeting, each team's won 3 apiece. Appreciate your time, Jadon. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Jadon McCullough, 7th year Plano Wildcat head coach. The pregame show, presented by Whirly Ball, will continue on Champion Sports Radio after this timeout.
The end is here. To get Huff Heinz' lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huff Heinz Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Pay just $259 a month on the all-new 2013 Huff Heinz Dodge Starts, only $269 a month on new Huff Heinz Ram Quad Cabs, or only $279 a month on new Huff Heinz Ram Crew Cabs at both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huff Heinz has it.
Stay up on all the latest news about the teams you care about and know when your favorite games are on the air thanks to Champion Sports Radio social media. Either follow @Champion Sports on Twitter or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, and you will know what time your game starts, who was named Player of the Week, or what your school's alumni are doing in college. That's on Twitter @Champion Sports and facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship social media.
Are you looking for a way to promote your business or increase exposure? Do you just need more people to know that you're there? Join the Champion Sports Radio team and advertise during these games. In the last 4 years, Champion Sports Radio has broadcast over 600 games to more than 3.5 million listeners. And Champion Sports Radio wants to help you use major high school sports to reach thousands of local fans right in your community. Think about it. Die-hard fans just like you tune in each and every week, giving your business unparalleled access to the community. It's the perfect way for smaller individually owned businesses to cultivate a core clientele or expand their already loyal customer base. To secure your prime commercial spot during the broadcast, contact Thomas Lee at Champion Sports Radio by phone at 972-741-0334. That's 972-741-0334, or online at championsportsradio.com. Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcast.
Are you tired of only spending time as a family huddled around the TV? Would you like to enjoy some culture with your loved ones without breaking the bank? Then let me introduce you to the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra. The GDYO provides music education and performance opportunities for musically talented youth, but this is no kids' concert. The GDYO comprises 7 different ensembles made up of over 425 talented musicians ages 8 to 18, representing more than 50 communities in North Texas. You won't believe how amazing these ensembles sound until you hear it for yourself. So join them for one of their concerts at the Meyerson Symphony Center or Dallas City Performance Hall. For more information on how to make a donation, as well as a listing of upcoming GDYO concerts, visit gdyo.org. And if you know a talented young musician interested in an unbelievable experience, auditions take place in the spring. Connect with the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and at gdyo.org.
Hebron head coach Brian Brazel joins us as pregame programming presented by Whirly Ball continues tonight from John Clark Field. And Coach B, I know your lips were
maybe pursed a bit last February when the UIL announced the latest realignment, what with Hebron named a part of this 9-team mega district that is 6A. Well, here it is. After a very abbreviated non-district schedule, 6A opener tonight, it's here in Plano, much different than the recent years.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you go in a tough district like it. I mean, you can take any of the 1 schools out, and it makes it 8-team district. That's fair. I mean, they're good schools all the way around, but you throw it into a 9-team district, boy, you only get 2 non-district games, and you're thrown right into the fire, and it makes it, makes it pretty tough. But, it is what it is. I mean, we had a 6-team district the last few years, so we had 5 games we had to play. So, I mean, that was a nice little, advantage, I think, to a certain degree. And but at the same time, you still got to line up and play. I mean, you still got 9 teams vying for a playoff spot, and and if you're fortunate enough to get in the playoffs, and you got to play well when you get there anyway. So, the way I look at it, our playoffs started today.
Brian, your Hawks close out non-district a week ago, very competitive in the 27-21 loss to Denton Ryan, but in the end, that first half 20-point deficit, just too much to overcome. Reflections on the Ryan game?
Well, I mean, when we gave up, I thought we had a big stop there to start second half, and then we get a penalty, and the next play they score, and you're just like, wow. And it made it 27-7. But again, I thought after that our defense really stepped up, gave us chances. We had some turnovers. We got some things that put us in good field position. Got 27-14, then it was 27-21 late. But again, we had opportunities where we should have taken advantage of. We just didn't. Had some miscues, and with our style of offense right now, negative plays are not something that we need. We need to make sure that we at least get a yard, stay even. But when you get negative plays, it kind of hurts with our game plan, what we want to try to do, which is running the ball and being successful, and some play action passing game with it. But it put us down, and Denton Ryan came out and played us really well up front. Their defensive front did a great job of creating problems for us, and you learn from it, and that's what you have to do during a football season.
In that Ryan game, you lose a quarterback in Isaiah Gary in the second quarter to injury. First, an update on Isaiah, and second, an update on Hebron's quarterback situation.
Yeah, he had an unfortunate deal. He just put his hand down and he braced it in his thumb. He tore a ligament in his thumb, so he's going to have surgery. But he's going to be able to play this week, and we'll be playing him over on the defensive side of the ball. He's a very aggressive player. Just wants to be out there playing, and he's going to be able to help us there. And so, with that is definitely good that Isaiah can still help out. But Colton Chapin, who started the season for us, played well against Coppell, came in and played well last week. I mean, so it's not like we're in a situation where we don't have anybody that knows what they're doing. Colton will do a good job leading the team, and like I said, we'll be ready to play, and kids will rally behind him.
Brian, a final thought. This one always fun for a 7th consecutive season. Your Hawks tangle with the Plano Wildcats. By the way, the series tied at 3 games apiece, but I know you have a great amount of respect for the Plano program. Give us a scouting report on what Coach McCullough has in this 2014 edition.
Well, I think we're very similar in a lot of ways. We're both teams that want to run the football, establish a running game. We both have good running backs, good offensive lines. And, both teams up front really want to try to do everything they can to stop the run. So it's going to be a rock'em sock'em game. But, again, I think the big things is being sound secondary, understand that we may give up a play or two just like they may, but it's just rallying around it and not allowing a 15-yard catch to turn into a bigger play than what it should be. So we just got to be good tacklers on the back end, do the things we need to do, and again, prevent the big plays. The big plays have been definitely the thing that have hurt us more than anything else this year. So if we can at least make them always have to drive and do the things they need to do, not give up the big play, that's our plan going in.
All right, thanks for sharing. Good luck.
Thank you.
Brian Brazel, 15th-year Hebron head coach. We go to break here. You're invited to stay tuned as the pregame show presented by Whirly Ball continues in a moment on Champion Sports Radio.
The end is here. To get Huff Heinz lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huff Heinz Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Pay just $259 a month on new Huff Heinz Jeep Liberties. Only $269 a month on new Huff Heinz Chrysler 200s. Or take your choice and pay just $329 a month on new Jeep Grand Cherokees or Dodge Durangos. At both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huff Heinz has it.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be three things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute, online at gdyo.org/jazz.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores! 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that nearly 4 million brain injuries occur every year due to sports in the U.S. They also estimate that 70% of concussions go unreported. Not identifying concussions early can be devastating, especially if the athlete continues to play with symptoms. Catching hard hits fast is critical, and that's why you need the Shockbox Helmet Impact Sensor. The Shockbox is a small sensor that easily attaches to most football, lacrosse, and hockey helmets and instantly sends a signal to a smartphone on the sidelines when the player has taken a hard hit that puts them at higher risk for injury. The free app receives data from the sensor, displays information about the impact, and even walks the user through a concussion assessment. The app also logs symptom and impact data for future medical use. Visit ShockboxDFW.com to learn more about the Shockbox Impact Alert Sensor and determine if it is the right option for your child. Be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head impact that could result in a concussion. Visit ShockboxDFW.com today. ShockboxDFW.com.
Welcome back as we conclude our pregame program this evening, presented by Whirly Ball along with Trent Lynch. I'm Brad Denton. We brace for, District 6A opener. Don't want to beat that into the ground, but that's exactly what it is here in week number 3. The Hebron Hawks have just come in from across the way, making their way on the synthetic surface here at Clark Field. Hebron again, nothing, and to the losses to Coppell and more recently to Denton Ryan. The Plano Wildcats about to make their entrance in front of a pretty healthy crowd filing in here below us on the home side. Plano at 1-1, the loss at John Tyler, the win here on the carpet at Clark Field a week ago over Irving MacArthur. We talked about District 6A. Trent, you mentioned Plano's handful then some of state championship. You look up and down that 6A roster, there are 14 state title winners historically. Plano has 7 of those. But how about Allen with 3? Louisville has 2, 1 apiece for the Hebron Hawks, 1 for the Marcus Marauders. So a star-studded lineup up and down District 6A. Tonight, it's Hebron. The Hawks, by the way, claimed their state championship as a Class 4A school back in 2005. Plano, as you mentioned, as they climbed the rungs up the classification ladder, did win titles in 65 and 1967 as a 2A school. In 1971 as a Class 3A entry. As a big school as it was in 1977, Class 4A. Back-to-backs in 5A in the mid-80s, 86 and 87. And this the 20th anniversary of the most recent Wildcat Football State Championship, claimed in a win over the Katy Tigers on that December afternoon, December of 1994. We had the flip of the coin momentarily. By the way, we'll introduce our officiating crew while we have just a moment. Our referee is Mickey Jenkins. Our umpire this evening is Ken Daly. The head linesman is Mike Wilkinson. Mark Gambrell is the line judge, and our back judge is Brian Gotro. They are out of the Dallas chapter of the Texas High School Football Officials Association. Well, this ought to be good. Again, meeting number 7 in as many years between the Wildcats and the Hawks. Either team a winner of 3 straight. We take a break here and return with the kickoff after this timeout.
Many heart conditions can be fixed, but many of us don't know we have a problem until it's too late. On April 2nd, 2009, Zachary Schraw, a 16-year-old sophomore offensive lineman, died of sudden cardiac arrest, the number 1 cause of death among student athletes. Like so many SCA victims, Zach had no heart issues, nor did anyone in his family. If Zach had an echocardiogram, he might have been able to avoid suffering a condition that takes 10,000 of our youth each year. In his memory, Living for Zachary was formed to try and prevent SCA from taking the lives of youth everywhere. Join in the fight today and stop the silent killer of SCA by scheduling your young athlete for an echocardiogram, a procedure that can detect any heart issue with 99% accuracy. For more information, visit www.livingforzachary.org. That's living4zachary.org, and let your heart be heard.
This broadcast is under the direction and is copywritten by Champion Sports Radio. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or use of the audio stream, and any and all other use of the accounts of this broadcast without the direct written consent and permission of Champion Sports Radio is strictly prohibited. All rights are reserved by Champion Sports Radio and ChampionSportsRadio.com. This is a presentation of Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcasts.
Moments away from kicking this one off. Hebron, by the way, did win the toss. The Hawks deferred decision second half. Plano to receive to open this one up, and the Wildcats, dressed in all maroon, top over trousers, white headgear, gray face mask, will move from south to north, and that is into a pretty good breeze coming in from the north at 15, 17 miles an hour. And Trent, game time temperature an unbelievable 63 degrees.
Early September, 63 degrees after the last 2 Fridays where it was near 100 both evenings. Kind of a welcome relief, actually.
Well, deployed deep for Plano, Brandon Stevens is on the near side, and DeJohn Howard on the far side. Hebron to kick it away with Nick Oriatis. The approach, Hebron dressed in all gray, black headgear. Nice high kick, wind aided into and through the end zone, and Plano will scrimmage to open things up from the 25-yard line. A Plano offense that averages 311 yards per ball game. Most of that on the ground, 220 yards on the ground per ball game for Plano. We look for Quinn Waterbury to get the start at quarterback. Need to confirm that. I can assure you we will see Brandon Stevens wearing a number 2 and working out of the backfield. Even break huddle, it is, or rather, Plano, it is Waterbury, the junior, good size, 6'4", 200, under center, I formation behind him from the 25. Toss sweep to Stevens, right side, turns back inside, and good pursuit for Hebron, and they'll drop Brandon Stevens after the gain of less than 2. Dallas Shagoya on the tackle. Nathan Grant was the cop on the play that turned Brandon Stevens back into inside, and Stevens got help in the person of Shagoya, who got the tackle. Up front for Plano, Bo Hott opens at center. Ben White and Austin Pugh the guards. Isaiah Williams and Kadarius Smith are the offensive tackles. Now Waterbury, the quarterback, out of a shotgun, facing 2nd down and 9. A high snap, a quick throw this way, caught in the flat. A zig at the 30, and is stopped shy of the first down by Jordan Johnson, who opens the game, by the way, as a safety. And on the catch there is Garrett Frederick. Frederick, a junior, not big at 5'11", 168, but showed some wiggle with some space in the near flat.
It almost looked like if he'd have kept going up the sidelines, he had a wide open field. He stopped and tried to make a move, and the Hawks caught up to him.
Possession down for Plano with Waterbury. completing 15 of 21 thus far. He took over duty, did Waterbury, a timeout called on the field, and let's see by who. Our referee looks this way, and Mike Jenkins says timeout offensively against Plano. We do the same early on. Scoreless 10-42, first quarter from Clark Field.
The end is here. To get Huffines' lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huffines' Model Year in Sales event at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Take your choice and pay just $269 a month on new Chrysler Town & Countries or Dodge Grand Caravans. Or take your choice and pay just $329 a month on new Chrysler 300s or Dodge Chargers at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huffines has it.
Early possession down off the opening kickoff. Now 3rd down 3 Plano from just inside the 20, or rather 33-yard line. Little toss, Stevens dancing, bounces outside. His space on his way 50. Say so long to Brandon Stevens. He is to ramble down the sideline and then slow play it in the last 10 yards. Stevens scoring from 67 yards away.
Brad, that was interesting. The Hawk defense looked like they had him corralled at the line. He cut to the outside. The entire Hawk defense crashed to the inside, and it was a wide open lane all the way down the field for Brandon Stevens. And with his speed, once he got out there was no stopping him.
Touchdown number 5 for Stevens, the senior, at 192 pounds. I beg your pardon, the underclassman, the junior, a 5th touchdown of the year. Tyler Brogan knocks through the point after touchdown, and Plano has opened it up early, less than 2 minutes into it. It's a new score from Clark Field. The Plano Wildcats 7 and the Hebron Hawks nothing on Champion Sports Radio.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores! 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
Well, facing a first possession down to the 9th, 3rd down and just less than 3. Brandon Stevens gets the 3, plus a whole bunch more. In total, 67 yards for Stevens, a 5th rushing touchdown. Not his longest. His previous long this year, 75 yards.
Exactly what Coach Brazel talked before the game, giving up the big play. Hebron gives up the big play early. Now the offense has to come back and try and make up those 7 points.
It is Brogan, Tyler Brogan, who knocked through that point after, who will kick into a fairly stiff breeze. Hebron deploys, and that wind's stiff enough that Jason Lee will be employed by Plano as a holder for Brogan on the little approach. And there's a short kick going to be returned from Hebron's 23. Veering outside, now up a hash mark, and spinning is Hebron's Derek Mueller. And his return of 10 yards from the 23 out to his 33-yard line. TJ Lee is featured on the kickoff coverage tackle. And here's Hebron, a Hawk Ball Club, offensively averaging 348 yards per ball game. And they'll open with a quarterback. He's a junior, Colin Chapin, not large, 5'10", 160. Chris Brayman will open at a fullback, and the tailback is Angelo Garbett. And Garbett, pretty good numbers, 54 carries, 366 yards through 2 ball games. Of course, a marvelous debut for Garbett, rushing for 220 in the opener at Coppell. Here's Garbett off tackle, left side, break one in the secondary, on his way 50, sideline 40, and Angelo Garbett rolls it inside of the Plano 30 to the Wildcat 32-yard line. That's a touchdown-saving tackle registered by strong side linebacker Jason Lee.
What a nice run by Angelo Garbett up the middle, cut it to the outside. He just pulled away from those Plano Wildcats at the line.
Hebron loves to run behind the left side of the offensive line. Who can blame him? The guard there, Devin Wright, and the all-everything offensive tackle, Zach Rogers. Running left, Garbett, head down in a crowd. Will drive for 3.5 inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. Colton Pusateri, one of the linebackers in the Wildcat Corps, an official timeout taken as one of the Hawks' big fellas up front, slow to get up, in fact being now attended to by the training staff. Gives us an opportunity, we'll take it here, to introduce Plano's, or rather Hebron's offensive 11. The centerpiece, Brian Drew. Returning starter, the senior, opens over the football. I mentioned Wright at left guard. The right guard is Jarrett Farley. I has huge superlatives, as we will throughout the year, of left tackle Zach Rogers, the Arkansas commit, who may be the youngster who is slow to get up as we speak. Zach, a senior, 6'3", 298 pounds, and certainly a blue-chip recruit, and again has committed the talents to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Hebron's right tackle is Hayden Seeley. A wide receiving core of Derek Mueller and Christian Dawson. A tight end rotation that'll feature Joe Martin, Noah Howard, and Stephen McCarty. And again, the quarterback is Colton Chapin. Plano answers defensively with a 4-3 look. The inside tackles Sam Tecklenburg, a 3-year starter who has committed to Baylor. Tecklenburg, a marvelous football player. Connor Welch, the opposite defensive tackle. At defensive end, Brandon Wall, along with Tucker Palacia. Linebacking core, Nima Bimahami. Middlebacker, Jason Lee. Strong side, weak side is Colton Pusatari. And a secondary of Dejon Howard and Aaron Regas on the corners. Cody Farhat and TJ Lee are the Wildcat safeties.
Brad, it's not looking really good right now for Zach Rogers, as he can't put any weight on his leg. We don't know if it's a knee issue, which he suffered from last year, or if it's something else, but gingerly going off towards the sidelines right now, and that would definitely be a blow for this Hebron Hawk offense.
Yeah, he's a terrific player, and bless his heart, he missed his complete junior season of 2013 when he blew out a knee in the preseason scrimmage versus Plano East. And here in game number 3 of his senior campaign, he has assistants making his way to the far boundary and the Hebron sideline, and I mean they have stopped there on the numbers and trying to regather himself for the final few steps.
Brad, there probably isn't a player that I've ever seen work harder to get back from his injury last year. Zach Rogers with just an incredible work ethic and a drive to be the player that he wants to be and prepare himself for that Arkansas Razorback
and remember,
offensive line.
Zach Rogers, a day one starter as a freshman 4 years ago. Well, he's spelled up front by Freddie Danchez, whereas number 56 stands 6'5" at 283. Boy, there's a misexchange. It's picked up off the ground by Garbett. He tries to ad-lib, reversing field, and just fights his way back to the line of scrimmage. Cody Farhat, busy safety for Plano's Wildcat, returning starter. All district recognition a year ago. A wonderful baseball player who, in fact, has committed to play baseball collegiately for the Raiders of Texas Tech.
Good baseball program up there in Lubbock.
Well, second down, now third down rather, and 7. Plano working from the Wildcat 28, or rather Hebron working. And it away, and Garbett in a crowd almost breaks out of there, but B. Mahami, that middle linebacker, after the fact, there's a flag down. That's going to be a dead ball foul. And let's see on who. Garbett was lassoed down by B. Mahami at the 24-yard line, 3 yards shy of what was needed to earn a fresh set of downs. It would be 4th and 3 Hebron, but dead ball, personal foul against Hebron will wipe out the 4th and 3 and call it 4th down and 18.
Got to be frustrating for Coach Brazel as the Hawks drive down inside the 25-yard line, have an opportunity to go for it on 4th down, and now they're going to be stretched all the way back out to the 40-yard line.
and a post-play foul, so it will be 4th down. And 18 for Hebron out, as you mentioned, the 39 is where they'll set it down. And Hebron will try to get a punt away. Jake Gennard is deep. See who's handling the deep pass from center today. Maybe Turley, the call up from the JV. That's a high snap over the head of Durand, who has to back it up, chase it down, turn and get a kick away. And he gets a Plano hop, and the Wildcats are going to look and say, how'd that happen, as it tumbles inside the 10, inside the 5, and good heavens, down to the 1-yard line. My heavens.
Well, if that is the JV call up back there punting the ball, talk about keeping his composure, hanging with that ball, and getting a nice kick with that wind behind his back.
And then a radar-guided tumble down to the 1-yard line. So leading 7-0. Plano begins with the longest of fields in front of him, working into the wind, south to north from our right to left. 8:40 first quarter, Plano's lead by a touchdown at 7-0. And that touchdown was a distance job on a 67-yard Brandon Stevens carry. Now we've got a timeout, and let us do the same. Plano burns a second timeout here in the first quarter. Freeze the clock, 8:40 remaining. And our count at Plano 7, Hebron nothing on Champion Sports Radio.
The end is here. To get Huff Heinz' lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huff Heinz Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Pay just $259 a month on the all-new 2013 Huff Heinz Dodge Starts. Only $269 a month on new Huff Heinz Ram Quad Cabs. Or only $279 a month on new Huff Heinz Ram Crew Cabs. At both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huff Heinz has it.
After the timeout, here's Plano working from the Wildcat 1-yard line. Stevens, the tailback, midway in his end zone. Plano will overload, strength to the left side with 2 tight ends that way. They'll go running play. Stevens hit behind the line and thrown back into the end zone. They will say he did just creep across the goal line. No safety for Plano, but he could not be closer to the goal line. Good heavens.
You could not have lost any more yardage on that play without it being a safety, but the Hebron Hawks had 3 guys blow it up in the backfield.
Biggest hit was delivered by strong safety Caleb Slaughter. And the Wildcats, second down and 10 and a half. I mean, the back nose of that football tickling the goal line. They'll go running play to a fullback who blows it out to the 10, 15, 20, one man to beat. And he'll try to beat him, but Isaiah Gary will spin down the running back. That's Brandon Wall on the carry. Beg your pardon on the player identification. Bobby Gray, a junior, with his 4th carry of the year. And obviously his biggest carry out across the 30 to the 34. And it took an Isaiah Gary bulldog tackle to finally wrestle down Gary. Or beg your pardon, Gary tackled Gray. From the 34, running play. Stevens outside left side, flushed out of bounds, and really good play right there by Holford. 3-year starter at linebacker playing inside out, Clay Holford, along with safety Antoine Partee.
On Stevens' touchdown run on the first drive, Plano had Tecklenburg and Kirchner line up to the left. Stevens followed them around. That time they motioned to the right and they ran the opposite direction. Hebron Hawks played that one well.
Julian Harris employed as a defensive end, being called up from the junior varsity after a brief stay in the sub-varsity program. Pass out in the far flat cannot be reeled in, and that's a long pass. Garrett Frederick was the intended receiver, but Hebron defensively closing down on that straight horizontal pass, and I think it's David Brazel putting some good pressure on the quarterback, Quinn Waterbury. And all of a sudden, Plano has a riddle to solve of 3rd down, 9.5 from the Wildcat 34. Plano's lead 7-0. 7.5 minute mark of our first quarter. fresh jersey in running back for Plano is Lapaka Euro, who's had considerable carries. Euro now with 30 carries on the year, or rather 22, and averages 7.5 per carry, spelling Stevens. Plano's wide receiving core is headed up by Matt Kircher, an angular one. The senior 6'3", 195, leading pass catcher with 6 balls on the year. It's Kircher wide left, and a pair of teammates cut wide to the right side. Waterbury out of a shotgun, rolls the pocket to the right side. Coxon fires on an out route. Oh, that is caught, and now in the free field on his way to the Hebron 40 and knocked out of bounds near the 30-yard line by Corby Eberhardt. The Wildcat receiver is Parker Myers, a senior 5'7" at 163. For Myers, a 4th catch of the year. And that was Heath who went for the interception and came up empty-handed.
Heath's eyes probably as big as dish saucers because he thought he had it going all the way back the other way. Gave up the big play.
Boy, in Hebron territory now, ticking at 7 minutes. It's Plano from the 30-yard line. Waterbury play action pass. Quinn to throw. Deep post. Nobody home in the end zone. It goes incomplete. Go ahead.
Plano opening up the offense a little bit this week. Only 25 pass attempts coming in. I believe they've already thrown 4 or 5 balls tonight.
Yeah, and this Waterbury youngster, Quinn Waterbury, again a junior, 6'4" and 200, not the starter. They lose the starter in the first half of the opener at John Tyler in Brooks Panahans.
Brooks Panahans, who had a great game against the Hebron Hawks
leg
last
injury,
year.
Going to be out for most of this regular season, perhaps coming back late. Waterbury throws this way. That is caught, and breaking the tackle at the 25 and carrying to the 20 and close to a first down is Matt Kircher. Antoine Partee on the belated Hebron tackle. They will tackle Kircher a step shy of the first down marker across the way. 3rd down and 1, Plano at Hebron's 21.
Hebron defensively playing 9 guys almost in a box to stop that run, and Plano coming out pass the ball on that one-on-one coverage on the edges. And if they get by that one-on-one coverage, they're making some yardage after the catch.
Kirchner, a tight end to the right. Wide left is Frederick. 3rd down 1. Look for the running play. Euro at tailback. Takes the handoff. Breaks outside. Makes one guy miss. Makes another guy miss. And then squeezes between a pair of Hebron tacklers for a first down. Earned after a gain of 1.5 yards to near the 19. Defensive end Julian Harris is featured on the stop at a fresh set of downs earned by Plano just inside of the Hawk 20-yard line. Inside of the midway mark, kickoff quarter from John Clark Field. Glad you're with us tonight on Champion Sports Radio. Plano at 1 win, 1 loss. Hebron 0-for-2 on the ledger. Here's an I formation. Here's a Brandon Stevens carry. He's sprung out, digging for the edge, turns the corner. Gary will tackle late out of bounds, and Isaiah Gary will draw a personal foul. A couple of flags way down. Gary playing with the injured thumb on the right hand, heavily taped, but nevertheless should have put on the brakes after Stevens able to scamper down the sideline for a gain of what looked to be 4 yards. But Hebron will be tagged for a second personal foul.
Yeah, Isaiah Gary on that play.
Gary will get a breather, and he's spelled out there at the corner by Jordan Johnson, who has moved down from safety, giving up that safety position to Antoine Partee. After the mark-off, half the distance is down to the 8-yard line. A fresh set of downs, 1st and goal, Plano. From the left hash mark, Quinn Waterbury under center. He'll go option to the right side. He'll try to go midline, and he's caved in right there after the gain of 2 to the 6. Went behind his right guard, right tackle in Ben White and Isaiah Williams, and was met by Dallas Shakoya, linebacker, defensive end Julian Harris. 2nd down goal, Plano from the Hebron 6-yard line. Wildcats looking to stretch a 7-0 lead.
Hawk defense really needs to make a stop here. With this wind, you never know on a field goal, but you got to stop them in order to take that chance.
Stevens at the top of the I set. The fullback is Gray. That's a draw play to Stevens with room, bouncing outside, digging to the near pylon. He will go in without as much as a dirty look. Wide open, 6-yard touchdown run. This by Brandon Stevens, his second of the night, number 6 on the season. A draw play designed to go inside, but the good feet saw that the offensive tackle there on that left side, Smith, and Pugh had caved in Hebron's defensive side, and he was just able to bounce that back outside and get clear sailing. Point after touchdown, a line drive, but through the pipes off of the right instep of Tyler Brogan, and a double-digit lead for the Wildcats at the 4:44 mark, still in the first quarter. New count from Clark Field, Plano 14, and Hebron nothing on Champion Sports Radio.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
Well, from a Hebron perspective, one word, ouch. That is a distance drive, Trent Lynch.
It sure was. 99 yards on 11 plays in 3 minutes, 16 seconds. Brandon Stevens, 6-yard touchdown run off that draw. 2 touchdowns tonight for Brandon Stevens.
Hebron will deploy Slater on the near side. And on the far side, I think that's Clay Holford. Tyler Brogan going to kick it into a wind that seems to be getting a little bit stiffer as the game moves along. Angelo Garbage, one of the upbacks in the vicinity, along with Derek Mueller, where I assume this kick will land. That is around the 20-yard line. There's the kick away. Mueller drifts back, locks in on it at the 19. Up the right hash mark, now bouncing outside. Mueller across the 30 and is pulled down near the 33. And Hebron, trailing by a couple of touchdowns, goes to work at the Hawk 33-yard line. Cody Farhat, the starting safety, sparkles there in the open field with the kickoff cover team tackle on Derek Mueller. And Hebron will come out again without the big offensive tackle, and he's a horse in Zach Rogers, who went down earlier this first quarter with an apparent leg injury. Colton Chapin, a spin, a hand, a first carry into the secondary. Look out, on his way, 50, 40 down the sideline. Angelo Garbett, step it to the 20, 15, to the 10, to the 5, touchdown Hebron. A distance run of 66 yards for Angelo Garbett. A play that started off tackle inside on the right side, but then opened up, and Garbett showed the breakaway speed and goes big time.
I think what we're seeing tonight, Brad, is both teams playing a lot of guys really up close, tight to the line of scrimmage because they know they're going to run. And once you break that, there's nobody left to take you down to tackle you.
Well, here's Kyler Terry to try to knock Hebron's 6 into a 7. And out of a Derek Mueller hold, he's good. And we go to break here, a busy first quarter. Teams trading touchdowns. Wildcats with a pair. Now the Hawks will scratch. 4:37 first quarter, new count. The Wildcats 14, the Hawks 7 on Champion Sports Radio.
Stay up on all the latest news about the teams you care about and know when your favorite games are on the air thanks to Champion Sports Radio social media. Either follow @Champion Sports on Twitter or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, and you will know what time your game starts, who was named Player of the Week, or what your school's alumni are doing in college. That's on Twitter @Champion Sports and facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship social media.
Seems like just a moment ago, Trent, I was saying from a Hebron perspective, the word of the moment is ouch. Well, they deal out a little ouch of their own and do it in short order.
They sure did. It only took one play, Brad. 66 yards, 7 seconds off the clock. That's 67 yards. Angelo Garbett going all the way down the field on one carry. 14-7, Plano after the Hebron extra point.
By the way, a 5th touchdown rushing for Angelo Garbett. Duo deployed, Stevens along with Euro. And Hebron's Nick Horiatis now will approach the aqua-colored shoes, and the ball blows off the tee while Mr. Horiatis is en route for the kickoff. So we'll try it again. Mother Nature wins this one, at least for the moment. And I mentioned that wind kicked it up a little bit. Old Glory there in that north end zone is pretty well starched.
And there's nothing blocking that wind from the north end zone either, Brad. I mean, it is wide open other than the big scoreboard here on the north end side, but it is really blowing through.
Mr. Horiatis will get an assist from a teammate, and Antoine Partee is the holder. There's the kick. That's high. And this is over the top and touches down right at the baseline of the end zone. And one more time, Plano goes to work. From the Wildcat 25, they have seen their 2-touchdown lead whittled in half on the 66-yard Angelo Garbett touchdown run just moments ago.
Weston tells me that wind is blowing right at 20 mile an hour now. Definitely aided that kick to go through the end zone. 75 yards for Plano to try and drive and get another touchdown here.
Somebody's got to play some defense. Waterbury at quarterback. Oh, that's that counter dive, a staple out of the Plano playbook for years and years, and it gains 5 up the middle. That's a fullback tackled by Partee. Ball carrier is Bobby Gray. Hard-charging junior fullback, 5'10" and 200 pounds, and lowered the head and put the saddle on big center Bo Hott. Hott, a returning starter, 6'3", 282, is committed to the football gifts to Oregon State University. Maybe he can be friends with Hicks Onu, Mr. Garbett up there going forward. That's a handoff, and that's a Stevens carry off tackle right side. Hebron closes quickly defensively and wraps up Brandon Stevens after the gain of 2 to the 32. 2 men off of that 4-man Hebron linebacking core. Holford, an inside backer, Corey Everhart, an outside backer, make the Brandon Stevens sandwich.
You mentioned, Brad, the counter dive, which you don't see very often anymore in Texas high school football, but both of these teams throwing back several years, running the ball versus that spread offense.
3 receivers to the left, 1 right side. Waterbury throws to the post. That's bobbled and incomplete. Over the shoulder and incomplete. Couldn't be brought in by Parker Myers. And it looks like punt time for Plano into the wind, and a first punt for the Wildcats this evening. Third possession.
That play was set up for success as Plano had already blocked the cornerback for the Hawks, and if he would have caught that ball, gone down the sidelines.
Trust me, duly noted up here.
Yeah, definitely see
we
it
may
open
see
wide.
that again. Derek Mueller deployed to return single safety. It's Tyler Brogan who will take the deep snap from Hayes Schmidt. Brogan will touch it off from around his 20. Into the wind. Flag down, delay of game will cost Plano 5. And unless Brogan can steer something away from Derek Mueller, Hebron really should get good field position. 3:22 remaining in the quarter, and that is important because that wind is whistling in the ear holes of the Plano Wildcats, who have to boot it into it.
Coach McCullough not happy with his special teams on that play, giving up those 5 yards.
Here's Brogan calling for the football. Hebron tries to send folks. Brogan the kick away. That's high. Mueller calls for the fair catch, and he's telling the truth. Pulling it out of the North Texas sky in Hebron territory at the the Hawk 43-yard line. And from there, Hebron will go to work trailing by the touchdown and somehow looking for the equalizer when it looked pretty lean for Hebron. When at the 4:44 mark, Brandon Stevens galloped in from 6 yards away, and very quickly it was 14-0 for the Maroons.
On a 99-yard drive, no less.
Chapin goes at quarterback, Raymond fullback, and the running back at the top of that offset I formation is Garbett. Toss sweep, Garbett. Block, Raymond. Garbett the corner. 45-50, and he'll gain 9, maybe 10. Upended on the tackle from a pursuing lineman, defensive tackle Connor Welch. On the stop right near the stick. If it's second down in anything, it's second down in mere inches. The Garbett carries, takes it to Wildcat soil as Hebron will scrimmage second down and very short from the Wildcat 47. Hebron digging in offensively. The tackles are Dan Ches along with Big Seeley. Oh, here's Chapin wanting to throw. Man is open, can't be caught. Maybe a breath behind the intended receiver. It was just a wide open over there. And it was Slater for Hebron, the deep man, Jalen Slater, that could not kind of gyrate behind him and bring it back in. But he was open, and albeit a half count behind him, not a bad-looking throw from Chapin.
Not a bad-looking throw, and it hit the hands. And as they say, if it hits the hands, you should catch the ball, but that happens sometimes.
What the heck? Third down and inches. Why not go to Garbett? Get a first down, not much more, but get a first down. Boys dragging tacklers with second effort. Angelo Garbett inside the 45 and down to the 41-yard line. That ends up being a 7-yard run when I thought he was dead in the water after a couple
of times this season we've seen that out of Angelo Garbett. He just does not give up, and his legs keep motoring. Really nice run, nice effort.
We mentioned Stevens of Plano, the 6-footer at 192, the junior running back, and a good one. Hebron answers with Angelo Garbett, senior at 6'2", 210. It is Garbett dotting the I formation. Chapin, counter dive. Garbett inside, tries to bounce outside. That's good pursuit right there for Plano. And Pusateri, Colton Pusateri, a pursuing linebacker, collaborates with a defensive end in Brandon Wall. And they will pull down Angelo Garbett. No gain on the play. Trey Pugh spells Garbett at tailback, and Pugh's rolled up some pretty good numbers. 16 carries for 120 yards for Trey Pugh. He likewise a load at 6'2", 210. Second down and 10, Plano from the Wildcat 40. Little toss, and Trey Pugh kind of bobbled it for a moment, and Pusateri, the linebacker, he's been busy and visible, is on the tackle of Pugh after the gain of only one right there. That's that little baby toss in the backfield, and Trey Pugh did not handle it cleanly.
Didn't handle it cleanly, and Pusateri looks like he's just trying to slash the gap there from a defensive standpoint. He guessed right twice in a row.
There he was, again. So Hebron with the terrific field position off the punt. And a first down earn on a Garbett run. Now face third down, 8.5 from the Wildcat 40-yard line. With 42 seconds, the wind will be behind him in this first quarter. Play action, Colton going to be just absolutely undressed in his backfield. Nobody blocks defensive end Brandon Wall. It was going to be a play action pass with Colton Chapin rolling to the right side. He never got to the roll portion of the play.
Never got the opportunity because he was down within 2 steps, and Plano's defense really stepped up there in that drive against the Hebron Hawks.
TJ Lee, the single safety. This has been an adventure thus far. Gennard deployed to punt. Good snap, and Gennard will get a kick away. That's middle of the field. Nobody going to return that. And looky here, inside the 15, bounding inside the 10, and Hebron has players there, but they can't keep it out of the end zone.
Sometimes just take the opportunity to down the ball anywhere, instead of waiting to try and get it back down to the 1-yard line again.
Yeah, it took a tricky hop, and they ended up kind of just swiping at it, but it goes in and out to the 20-yard line on the touchback for the Hebron Hawks. Coaching moment right here for Brian Brazel as he greets the youngster. And Trent, I'm telling you, he's speaking to Derek Mueller about the very thing that you mentioned, just down it inside the 10 somewhere. We go to break as we conclude our first quarter at Clark Field. At the end of the first frame, it's Plano Wildcats 14, the Hebron Hawks 7 on Champion Sports Radio.
The end is here. To get Huff Heinz lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huff Heinz Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Pay just $259 a month on new Huff Heinz Jeep Liberties. Only $269 a month on new Huff Heinz Chrysler 200s. Or take your choice and pay just $329 a month on new Jeep Grand Cherokees or Dodge Durangos. At both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huff Heinz has it.
Well, a quick turnaround to win the backside of the Wildcats. They go to work. A flag before an initial snap of this first quarter. It's the revolving hand indication. That's what our referee, Mickey Jenkins, said. The false start will set up Plano now at the 15 in Wildcat territory. First down and 15 yards to go. Our score, Plano 14, Hebron 7. And Trent, as I mentioned, that old wind howling in, that's now an ally for this Wildcat.
It is an ally for this Wildcat. Of course, the passing game not being what it typically is in ball games like this, but boy, it sure helps you when you have that at your back.
Nathan Grant, Jarrett Lee at nose guard, and David Brazel, the opposite defensive end of Grant. Here's Waterbury, a handoff. Hebron closes pretty quickly. It looked like Brandon Stevens may have a little bit of room, but 1, 2, 3 hits taken, and pretty quickly a gain of only one. Jamison Cooper, a senior inside linebacker, with the first blow. The mop-up duty, Caleb Sauter, a safety. Corey Eberhardt, an outside linebacker. Call the game 2, second down 13. The Wildcats, big fella up there at 6'3", 282, Bo Hott, the centerpiece, covers the football. Quinn Waterbury out of a gun. 2 targets left, 1 right side. Play action pace. A fake, Waterbury in the pocket. There's pressure. Waterbury buried. He fumbles late. They will say Quinn Waterbury was down before he coughed up the football, but Hebron registers the sack, and it's all of the way inside the 10 at the 7-yard line. There was a posse that arrived back there deep. First hit, Julian Harris, mop-up linebacker Clay Holford. And all of a sudden, Plano may be doggone glad that wins at the backside as they are confronted with a third down and 23. Ryan McConnell, one of 3 wides to the left. Waterbury to throw that way. Incomplete, intended for Myers in the far flat, just 5-6 yards up from the line of scrimmage. Fourth down, 23. Hebron with Plano with the big breeze in the backside will put it away to Derek Mueller.
I think Plano on that play just trying to get it out away from the end zone a little bit more. Not necessarily throwing it downfield for the first down, but it didn't work. A lot of pressure on you when your punter's going to be standing with this wind, hiking into this wind in the end zone.
Yeah, that's Hayes Schmidt to handle the deep pass to his punter, Tyler Brogan. Straddling the midfield stripe is the single safety, Derek Mueller of Hebron, poised to return. And a timeout is taken. Stop the clock at 10:38. That's Hebron burning their initial timeout of the ball game. We'll keep it here during the stoppage in play, and an opportunity to say thanks as tonight's broadcast is brought to you in part by Randy Rogers and the team over at Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Plano. Such strong supporters of Hebron Hawk football. And we remind you, if you're searching for a new or a used Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, or Ram, well, at Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge, everything provided automotive. Superb customer service to boot. And with Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge, you get a reliable and a stylish vehicle, and you'll get it at a price that won't break the bank. That's at Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge right here in Plano.
You know, Brad, talking earlier about 6-6A, this district.
Fun.
And it's not just a history of football champions. We'll go through a little bit later what the rest of these teams do in every sport.
Now, we can share some of that, and they do plenty. And thanks for bringing that up. Here we go after the timeout. Brogan with the heels near the baseline of the end zone. He'll get the kick away. Wind will help it. Derek Mueller going to return it with space from his 48 to make the first guy miss. That's a great tackle by Farhat. That is Cody Farhat, and not the first time number 3 in the maroon jersey has sparkled on special teams.
Strong kid. He got down there in a hurry. Cody Farhat made a tough tackle. And I tell you, we talked earlier, Derek Mueller getting a little talk from Coach Brazel, but he has been pretty special on special teams this year. Handled the ball very well, both receiving the ball as well as covering kicks throughout this year. Solid player on special teams.
Mueller tackled at the Hebron 46. From there, 1st and 10 Hawks, first time Hebron worked into this northerly wind. Christian Dawson, a little end around, and Plano doesn't buy the bait as they have defenders awaiting for number 13, the very speedy wideout in Christian Dawson. A defensive tackle, Connor Welch up front, had fought off a block and played laterally and got the first hit, but immediate help from some of his friends.
Hebron trying to mix it up a little bit offensively. You can't just hand it off between the guards and the tackles every time. You've got to keep this Plano defense wondering what's going to come around.
Mueller wide to the right side, and Slater wide left, running play inside. And Plano kind of waiting right there for the pair of deuces on the gray jersey of Hebron's Angelo Garbett. He'll carry upfield to 3.5, give him 4 to midfield, but a third down to short 7 for Hebron. That's a good middle linebacker in Nima Bibahani. I remember he had an older brother that played and very well at Plano West a few years ago, but Bibahani now sparkling for the Wildcats, senior 6 foot 205 middle linebacker.
Hayden Seeley on that last play doing a nice job getting off the line and driving the defensive line back. Gave that opportunity to get a few yards on that play.
Colton Chapin trying to solve the 3rd and 7 riddle from the shotgun set. Wow, whistle and a dead ball foul line. Somebody wiggling up there at the trough for Hebron. And 3rd down 7 becomes 3rd down and a dozen. And that is tough duty right there. These offenses, after just trading haymakers there in the first half, have somewhat slowed down. And I think that may be the case that neither one of these ball clubs want to, nor are they able to throw the ball particularly successfully.
And I think what you saw in that play was, a couple years ago, Hebron snapped in a shotgun formation almost every time they snapped the ball. Now they're used to being under center, and they were a little uncomfortable in a shotgun situation that last play.
3rd down 11, under center is Chapin. He'll drop the throw. He's under big-time pressure, can't run for his life. He's bagged back to inside the 40 at the 36-yard line. That's a linebacker, Jason Lee, and nobody picked up the Lee Red Dog, and he's in Mr. Chapin's back pocket before he can do much more to take the snap and about maybe 3 steps of a 5-step drop. And 4th down and forever now for Hebron. The Hawks have to punt it into the wind, and it's Jake Gennard. And the deep guy for Plano is T.J. Lee. That's a good snap. That's Gennard, a kick away. High, wind going to knock it down. Lee runs away from it. Nobody to return this one. It tumbles to the boundary and then over the sideline in Plano territory at the Wildcat 47-yard line. Check the clock time. Second period, 7:49. And we continue at that count we've been locked into since late first quarter at the 4:37 mark at Plano 14 and Hebron 7.
Well, number 45, Josh Zeman doesn't get on the field very often, but boy, did he blow a Plano Wildcat player up on that punt.
Here's Plano and Waterbury. In the backfield is Euro at tailback. He'll take that counter dive handoff, and he's just swallowed up and eaten alive at the line of scrimmage. On the stop for Plano, Julian Harris, a defensive end, and nobody blocks Julius. And Ben White, the offensive guard, was knocked back into the backfield, and I think he gets as much credit for the tackle as Harris.
Yeah, and Harris did a really nice job of coming straight down the line, being able to run down when he needed to finish off that tackle.
Jarrett Lee digs in at Hebron's nose guard position, flanked by Harris and Brazel. 2nd down, same 10 from the 47. Wildcat territory. Here's Waterbury. Sheds one tackler, rolls left, fires on the run. That's complete for a first down. Catch made by Myers and tackled immediately in Hebron territory, just inside the Hawk first down by Jordan Johnson, the tackler on the receiver, Parker Myers. And credit Quinn Waterbury, able to shake off a shoulder-high would-be tackler behind the line of scrimmage.
A really nice play by Waterbury as he was able to shake that and roll to his left and make that throw across the field. A pretty good strike.
First down earned at the 39 Hawk territory. From the left hash mark, Waterbury going to throw the right flat over the top of Parker Myers, and incomplete. It goes out of bounds. I don't think that was a lateral, but pretty doggone close to it. Plano, historically a 7-time state champion outfit. This facility opened for the 1977 season. And I'm telling you what, it was a cutting edge back then. It's still a very nice facility. Love the place, but I mean, it was what Allen Stadium was 2 years ago in 77. Waterbury under center. Second down and 10 from the 39. There's a little pitch to Stevens. He's trying to work outside right side. Works through 2 tacklers and 3 and inside the 30. Rolling for a first down, Brandon Stevens. Slow played that, did Stevens, and finally got his block and properly read his blocks. And Dallas Shagoya, Hebron's linebacker, in pursuit, able to spin him down, but not before the gain of a dozen. And the first down at the Hawk 27-yard line.
Waterbury had a little struggle with handling that ball as it was snapped to him, but that was all Brandon Stevens as he found that hole.
Fresh set of downs from the 27. Counter dive inside Gray, the carry the fullback. Dances through traffic. Jamison Cooper weighs down Bobby Gray. The fullback at the 18-yard line. A gain of 3.5. Let's say 4. Second down and 6.
Similar position to last week, Brad, against Denton Ryan. Down 7. Closing in on the first half, and Plano going in potentially for a score. The Hawks defense really needs to try and stop it right now.
Partee along with Sauter, the Wildcat safeties. Second down and 6. Waterbury, rather a shotgun. Brandon Stevens takes the direct snap and tries to saddle up the left side of his offensive line. Picks up 2, maybe 2.5, just above the 20. And David Brazel is the last Hawk to get up the bottom of the stack. There it is. The gray number 4 jersey. That's a gray top and gray breeches for Hebron tonight. Wearing the black headgear. Hebron sports the white helmets on occasion, but black tonight with the royal blue Hitman H decal on either side.
3 different games, 3 different uniforms we've seen so far this year.
5 minutes until halftime. Big third down 3. Waterbury out of a gun. Takes the snap at his 25. Hands to Stevens, double reverse Myers with space wide left, digs to the corner, turns it inside the 15, gets the first down. Parker Myers will carry to Plano's, or rather Hebron's 12-yard line, earning a first down with a little razzle-dazzle. The reverse finally solved by Nathan Grant, the defensive end in pursuit. Waterbury handed to Stevens, and then going the other way on the misdirection, Stevens to Parker Myers, who cleared the corner wide left.
Really nice play by the Wildcats on that down, using Stevens as a person to hand the ball off rather than running it.
Stevens working out of the Wildcat set will take the direct snap. Brandon Stevens running play inside, hit at the 10 and spilled right there, turned around. Lapaka Euro, first by Jamison Cooper, and then help from Shagoya, Dallas Shagoya, a pair of linebackers on the stop of, I'll call him the minute one, and why not? Lopaka Euro wears number 14, stands 5'2", the junior with a rock in his pocket, weighing in at 145 pounds.
Kind of hard to see him back behind that line every once in a while. Those Hebron Hawks, he's quick.
You know, he looks small, and then I looked, and I had to look twice at the listing there. You don't see many at the varsity 6A level with playtime who stand 5'2" at 145. Timeout taken offensively by Plano. We'll step out with them. Second quarter clock reads 3 minutes 55 seconds. And our count illuminated at Plano 14 and Hebron 7 on Champion Sports Radio.
In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. In Command Broadcasting provides a wide array of turnkey video production and streaming services. In Command services include filming of sporting events, season highlights, school graduations, corporate infomercials, and documentaries. In Command streams your sporting event or company function over the internet live or on demand. Call 972-851-7888 to raise the energy of your next event. In Command Broadcasting, 972-851-7888.
All right, that's the third and the final timeout for Plano. Spin here in the first half. Clock will count down from 3:55 until a ceasefire. When we go back to play, Plano has it in Hebron territory at the Hawk 8-yard line, confronted with 2nd down and 6. And again, a direct snap will come to call him the Wildcat back, particularly for Plano. Brandon Stevens handed to Euro outside and knocked down a loss on the play as Euro tackled by David Brazel. And Lapaco Euro backwards for a yard. 2nd down 6 becomes 3rd down 7 from the 9, maybe closer to the 10-yard line.
Now we're seeing Quinn Waterbury back in the ballgame at quarterback. Plano trying that direct snap to Stevens for the last 3 plays.
Well, the favorite targets, should he throw, Garrett Fedrick, along with Parker Myers and Matt Kircher. They'll go out of an I formation. Waterbury, toss sweep. Stevens, right side, trying to get to the corner. Clears the edge to the 5. Dances down the sideline. Touchdown, Plano. Brandon Stevens, let's call it a 9-yard, 3rd down touchdown run. Caleb Sauter had a late shot, but couldn't catch up to Brandon Stevens.
Well, it looked like Caleb Sauter had the angle. Brandon Stevens just outran him to that angle, got around the corner. Really nice run by Brandon Stevens, and he showed his speed coming out of the backfield on that run.
Point after touchdown on the way and on the board. Booted true by Tyler Brogan. Stop of clock here, 2nd quarter, 3:06, and Plano matches their big lead of the night at a couple of touchdowns. New count, the Wildcats 21, the Hebron Hawks 7 on Champion Sports Radio.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be 3 things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute, online at gdyo.org/jazz.
Trent, how about Brandon Stevens, the junior running back, and I'll call him running back extraordinaire for Plano. Now with all 3 of the Wildcat touchdowns tonight, number 7 on the year, most recently from 9 yards away.
9-yard touchdown run by Brandon Stevens. That was a 10-play, 53-yard drive, 4 minutes, 13 seconds. Plano just running the ball against these Hebron Hawks.
Here's Brogan with the wind at the backside. He'll kick it away, and that's a Garbett picking it up on a hop near the 10-yard line and carries across the 20, and Angelo's roughed up before he arrives at the 25 by Cody Farhat. And Hebron will go to work at the Hawk 24-yard line. Again, looking at the hostile end of that 21-7 Clark Field scoreboard. Really nice turnout here for the Plano Wildcats in the home date. Hebron, a very respectable crowd across the way over from Carrollton. Here's Hebron trying to work for some late 2nd quarter points. Go running play. Garbett stoned at the line of scrimmage. Tried to just pack it between the guards and drew a reception committee, which was led by Ja'Cory Sanders. Sophomore now getting some 2nd quarter play time at linebacker.
And Brandon Wall, number 38, just blew up that offensive line. It looks like Plano is just sending their linebackers and a couple of their defensive backs directly at the line, knowing what the Hebron Hawks are going to try and do offensively.
Well, Chapin now will deploy on 2nd down and 10 to a shotgun set. Look at him, 9-10 at the line. A flag down this out of the hip pocket of our umpire. Let's see what we have. Dead ball, false start. And Hebron now 2nd down 15. As they'll mark off the 5 back to the Hebron 14-yard line at the 2:16 mark of the 3rd quarter. All the color and pageantry here at halftime. The Hebron High School Marching Band, the Silver Wings drill team. Also the sounds of the Plano Wildcat Band and the Planoettes. The high kick and drill team at Plano Senior High School. That's a little misdirection. They faked the toss and handed inside, and I think that's Brayman, the fullback, and there's nowhere for Mr. Brayman to go. Chris is wrestled down after a gain of perhaps 1 to the 15. And Brandon Wall gets a big piece of the gang tackle down low on Chris Brayman. Clock inside of 90 seconds. Hebron just watching that play clock tick now to 15. And Hebron working into this win, not having any success offensively in this 2nd quarter.
And Hebron is not built offensively for a 3rd and 14. It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Now they're going to hand it off, and that's Garbett. He gets outside right side. He gets to 30, sideline 40. 1st down and rolled out of bounds in Plano territory. Angelo Garbett to the Wildcat 47-yard line. And on the stop across the way is Dejon Howard.
That time, Brad, it looked like Hebron quarterback Colton Chapin was going to fake it to Garbett and dash to his left, and the right side quarterback for Plano, Aaron Regas, went after Colton Chapin, and he was Garbett had a wide open field.
Here's Pugh spelling Chapin, and he'll run too much standing up at the 55-second mark on 1st down. He'll gain only 2. Trey Pugh, not the breakaway that you need there in Pugh. He thunders for a pair. Hebron looking for late 2nd quarter crooked numbers, trailing by 14 at 21-7. District opener for either one of these ball clubs. Chapin under center. Pugh still working. Chapin a play action pass. Going to throw in a crowd, and that's incomplete and very possibly could have been intercepted by Farhat. But he's unable to pull it down, and Chapin just heaved it in a crowd. 3 Chicago maroon jerseys and only 1 gray Hebron jersey.
Into triple coverage, Brad.
And into the wind. It just floated up there saying, "Catch me somebody," and nobody could. 26 ticks remaining until halftime. Pugh continues to work at tailback. Pugh gets a handoff. Pugh draws a crowd. He's wrestled down on top of the line of scrimmage in what will likely be our final play of this initial half as the clock ticks to the 13 to the 12-second mark. And Hebron's Hawks will try to lick the wounds as they will head to the locker room at halftime. Brian Brazel having words across the way with our head linesman as the 2nd quarter clock expires, and we have arrived at halftime at John Clark Field in Plano. Through 2 quarters, the homestanding Wildcats are having their way with the Hebron Hawks. Our halftime count, Plano 21 and Hebron 7. Hebron Hawk football on Champion Sports Radio continues in a moment.
The end is here. To get Huff Heinz lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huff Heinz Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Pay just $259 a month on new Huff Heinz Jeep Liberties. Only $269 a month on new Huff Heinz Chrysler 200s. Or take your choice and pay just $329 a month on new Jeep Grand Cherokees or Dodge Durangos. At both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huff
We are between the halves of John Clark Field in Plano, Texas, where District 6A opens this evening for the Wildcats as well as the Hebron Hawks. Hebron into it, nothing and two. Starting to get some wet stuff now, starting to filter down as you look. A heavy mist blowing in from the north, and I would look for some of these umbrellas to start popping up, because as heavy as that canopy of cloud looked all day long, if I was going to be out there, Trent, I'll tell you what, I would have packed the junior umbrella.
I saw plenty of people in shorts as we came to the stadium tonight, and I'm thinking, it's going to get chilly. It already was chilly when we arrived, and now we've got this rain coming down, and you know, when you go from that 100-degree weather, 80% humidity into this, it's a pretty drastic change.
Well, as a matter of fact, it is. Hebron's band, you'll hear them in the background here in just a moment, about to strike it up with a halftime performance. I mentioned that Hebron into this thing 0-2 and looking to find their way to the win column. The Plano Wildcats trying to string together a little mini winning streak, trying to stack a win on top of last week's initial victory of the season, and trying to get out of here tonight with a 2-1 overall record and 1-0 more importantly in District 6A. But Plano, competing pretty well and having their way, up by a couple of touchdowns with the Hawks. But we were talking during one of the breaks, it's hitting your daddy's Wildcats.
It isn't your daddy's Wildcats, and even from a Hebron Hawk perspective, Hebron Hawk bring the wood, history, and you have your top linebacker now running back, who was your primary bring the wood guy last year. He's bringing it offensively, but Hebron just doesn't seem to have that bring the wood every week from a defensive perspective right now. Maybe they can find that second half. They did the second half against Denton Ryan last week.
They did. Hey, bunch of kids working hard on either side, and a roster full of kiddos with a whole bunch of want to. How we got here is a very active first quarter. By the way, our score here between the halves at Plano's Wildcats 21 and the Hebron Hawks 7. Plano on their initial possession of the ball game. Not a lot of luck on first down, not a lot of luck on second down. They faced third down, and if memory serves, 7, perhaps 8, and they gave it away to Brandon Stevens, the junior running back, and he's 6 foot and listed at 192, and he can pick them up and lay them down, and he strides for a 67-yard touchdown run on the third play from scrimmage. Stevens, a 5th touchdown on the season, comes at the 10-17 mark of the first quarter. Tyler Brogan comes in and makes a 7 out of the Wildcat 6, and it looked like Plano was on their way, and by golly, Hebron unable to move on their initial possession, have to punt it away to the Plano Wildcats, and Hebron gets a very fortunate bounce, and they recover it, and then, Plano does have their way. They go on a distance drive, double figures in the number of plays, but how about the yards? Even more impressive.
99 yards. In fact, probably 99 and a half after first down. Almost was a safety, but Plano, first 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. Brandon Stevens.
Yeah, Stevens this time from 6 yards away, and it does culminate that 11-play, 99-yard drive. It comes at 4:44 of our first quarter. Brogan, PAT, A-OK, 14-0 Wildcats. Here comes Hebron off the ensuing kickoff. They get a return out to the 34-yard line and hand it away to Mr. Angelo Garbett. And on the first play from scrimmage, Garbett dashes for a 66-yard touchdown run for Angelo. Rushing touchdown number 5. Kyler Terry pulls Hebron to within 7 as he's able to convert the point after touchdown out of a Derek Mueller hold. And at the end of the first quarter, Plano's lead at 14-7, and Plano continues to nurse that 14-7 lead until a possession midway in that second quarter, and they mounted a pretty handsome drive 10 plays, going 53 yards after we swapped, and it was so important that that wind was a helper in that second quarter for Plano. The Wildcats, by the way, able to march the 53 yards in 10 plays. That drive chewed up 4 minutes, 13 seconds of a second quarter clock. And it's Brandon Stevens for a third time tonight, number 7 on the year. This latest touchdown run at the 3:06 mark of quarter number 2 from 9 yards away. Tyler Brogan, point after touchdown, completes the arrangements of where we sit. Trent Lynch in what's becoming a pretty soggy halftime at Clark Field. It's Plano 21 and Hebron 7.
Similar to last week's ball game against Denton Ryan, where the Hawks were down by 2 touchdowns going into half. What's a little different is Hebron last week gave up the big plays on passing downs. This week they're giving up the big plays on the ground.
All right, let's take a halftime break right here. It's Plano by 14, 21 and 7 over Hebron. We'll invite in an old broadcast partner here who's working the other side of the street tonight on the other side of the timeout, and get first half thoughts from one Peter Nielsen. That's up next on Champion Sports Radio.
Is here. To get Huffines' lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huffines' Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Take your choice and pay just $269 a month on new Chrysler Town & Countries or Dodge Grand Caravans. Or take your choice and pay just $329 a month on new Chrysler 300s or Dodge Chargers at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huffines has it.
Are you tired of only spending time as a family huddled around the TV? Would you like to enjoy some culture with your loved ones without breaking the bank? Then let me introduce you to the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra. The GDYO provides music education and performance opportunities for musically talented youth, but this is no kids' concert. The GDYO comprises 7 different ensembles made up of over 425 talented musicians ages 8 to 18, representing more than 50 communities in North Texas. You won't believe how amazing these ensembles sound until you hear it for yourself. So join them for one of their concerts at the Meyerson Symphony Center or Dallas City Performance Hall. For more information on how to make a donation, as well as a listing of upcoming GDYO concerts, visit gdyo.org. And if you know a talented young musician interested in an unbelievable experience, auditions take place in the spring. Connect with the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and at gdyo.org.
Do you need a boost in exposure? Want to reach local, community-minded folks with information about your business? Join the Champion Sports Radio team and advertise during these games. In the last 4 years, Champion Sports Radio has broadcast over 600 games for more than 3.5 million listeners. And Champion Sports Radio wants to help you use major high school sports to reach thousands of local fans right in your community. It's also a way for your business to give back to the community by helping all these well-deserving student athletes get some recognition for their accomplishments. The cost simply can't be beat for the effect it will have. You get a lot of bang for your buck, and best of all, it provides an opportunity for the best advertisement of all, word of mouth. To secure your prime commercial spot during the broadcast, contact Thomas Lee at Champion Sports Radio by phone at 972-741-0334. That's 972-741-0334, or online at championsportsradio.com. Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcast.
Stay up on all the latest news about the teams you care about and know when your favorite games are on the air thanks to Champion Sports Radio social media. Either follow at Champion Sports on Twitter or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, and you will know what time your game starts, who was named Player of the Week, or what your school's alumni are doing in college. That's on Twitter at Champion Sports and facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship social media.
Champion Sports Radio, we do greet you from John Clark Field in Plano, where between the halves, the homestanding Plano Wildcats have the Hebron Hawks by a count of 21-7. I'm Brad Denton, sharing the broadcast tonight with my partner Trent Lynch. And our thanks to Mr. Weston Lynch, our behind-the-scenes remote engineer and producer. And I'm going to put an asterisk by that producer, Weston. You're doing a good job of stepping up and fitting into that role. I usually do share my Friday nights with one Pete Nielsen, but Champion Sports Radio, short on the lineup card across the way. Champion Sports Radio also has radio coverage of Plano Wildcat football. So, Petey, you're across the window there working with our friend Thomas Lee on what is the Wildcat radio broadcast, but we welcome you in here to our halftime. And you and I were talking off the air, both of us just had to pick our bottom lip up off our feet, and when we saw Zach Rogers go down there in the first quarter of play.
As I said, during the break, there's nothing that makes you feel worse about something like that happening. When you know the young man, you know the parents, you know all of it. And to see somebody go down like that, it's really, really difficult. Such a great kid. It happened last year. We all know the story. He went down last year with the knee injury, and unfortunately it looks like the knee again, and nobody worked any harder than Zach Rogers. But I'll tell you what, it's got to be a gut punch to your team, and I'm sure Coach Brazel had to gather everybody up and say, guys, can't quit. I mean, Zach didn't quit, happened it again, but it's tough, and I can only imagine how you guys felt when you saw it go down.
Yeah, that's tough, and we they're, as the old adage goes, most of the time as anonymous as telephone operators. We used to have those up there across the line, tackle to tackle. Zach Rogers was not anonymous. He was a blue chip and a would-be 4-year starter for Hebron. Did he not lose year number 3 last year, 2013, to the knee injury? And boy, did we welcome Zach back with open arms, and has he ever been a weapon here in the early go? But they have to go at least for a while without Big Zach.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. And yeah, that's I almost think that's why Coach Brazel didn't call timeout there. He had timeouts left, and they were doing something. They had a chance to do a little bit, but it was kind of weird that he didn't call that timeout. But they'll regroup, and like Trent said before I came on, they're down 14, 21-7 last week, and different way. But this team's not going to quit. Coach Brazel's not going to let him quit. Eric Mock's not going to let him pick. Jamie Carr's not going to let him quit. I'll tell you what, though, and it's a gut punch, but give some credit to this Plano team. Brandon Stevens is the real deal. There's been a couple times that they had him lined up, and he puts that foot on the ground and around the corner. No one's got the speed to stay with him.
I think it's a little microcosm of things we've read about this week, about the wealth of talent in this north central Texas area. But how about the running backs that Hebron has drawn in weeks 1, 2, and 3? Charles West of Coppell in the opener. Last week, Maurice Gordon was marvelous for Denton Ryan. And then, you just moved to the edge of your seat when number 2 for the Wildcats, Brandon Stevens, gets his hand on the football, even the most little amount of space.
Well, it doesn't stop from here. We're going to see something like that almost every week as we go through District 6-6A.
It's going to be fun. Peter?
It's funny. We had the same conversation next door. And don't forget about the running. You make a great point. The young man in McKinney North that I was drooling about last
Scrivens.
I don't know. I want to go back to last week, but guys, he was awesome.
Yeah.
But there's a guy that plays at Plano West that set a national record. So Jamambo, 457 yards. We didn't even talk about it.
Tonight you have a quarterback in Allen who has 4 rushes for 111 yards in the first half.
That's good.
And that's why when you talk about this district, I'm sure you guys talked about this in the open as well. And let me just say this right now.
Go ahead.
It's kind of weird sitting next door watching you guys, because I know what you're saying, and I'm like, but no, anyway.
We are having all the fun, by the way.
Clearly. No, just kidding. Every game's a playoff game. And there was an article in the paper today, Dane Johnson, the head coach over at Flower Mound, saying, I can't remember the last time that I've had my first district game be a must-win, because that's how they all know who's going to be the top schools. It's going to be a fight for the bottom. And I thought that this game here would be one of those games that, hey, if you're going to make the playoffs, you got to win this game. So who knows? We'll don't know what happened, but thanks for letting me stop by. I miss you guys. And I'll be back next week. So,
Peter, I'll leave you with this on District 6-6A. I was looking up and down at who plays who, and we'll continue to monitor all that. But the bottom line is, and until somebody proves me wrong, and I don't think they're going to, it's the Allen Eagles and the ATOs. ATO standing for all the others.
I couldn't agree anymore.
See you. Thanks for joining us.
Good seeing
Have a
you
good
guys.
second half.
Hey, anything I can do, you just send me a message, all right?
You got it. Just
Bye-bye.
wave through the window.
There he is across the way. They call him Sweet Pete. Mr. Pete Nielsen joining us at halftime at Clark Field. The Plano Wet drill team now entertaining to the sounds across the way of the Plano Wildcat Marching Band. Trent, you touched on something at halftime. I want to go to break here, and on the other side of the timeout, we talked about collectively the 14 football state championships that have been won over the years, over the decades by the 9 teams that make up District 6A. And then you winked at me and said, you know, they make some noise in some other sports too. And I got to thinking about that, and I said, that's a good thing to talk about. We're going to do that after the timeout. At halftime, Plano leads Hebron 21-7 on Champion Sports Radio.
The end is here. To get Huffines' lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huffines' Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Pay just $259 a month on the all-new 2013 Huffines Dodge Starts. Only $269 a month on new Huffines Ram Quad Cabs. Or only $279 a month on new Huffines Ram Crew Cabs. At both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huffines has it.
Many heart conditions can be fixed, but many of us don't know we have a problem until it's too late. On April 2, 2009, Zachary Schraw, a 16-year-old sophomore offensive lineman, died of sudden cardiac arrest, the number one cause of death among student athletes. Like so many SCA victims, Zach had no heart issues, nor did anyone in his family. If Zach had an echocardiogram, he might have been able to avoid suffering a condition that takes 10,000 of our youth each year. In his memory, Living for Zachary was formed to try and prevent SCA from taking the lives of youth everywhere. Join in the fight today and stop the silent killer of SCA by scheduling your young athlete for an echocardiogram, a procedure that can detect any heart issue with 99% accuracy. For more information, visit www.livingforzachary.org. That's living4zachary.org, and let your heart be heard.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be 3 things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute online at gdyo.org/jazz.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores! 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that nearly 4 million brain injuries occur every year due to sports in the U.S. They also estimate that 70% of concussions go unreported. Not identifying concussions early can be devastating, especially if the athlete continues to play with symptoms. Catching hard hits fast is critical, and that's why you need the Shockbox Helmet Impact Sensor. The Shockbox is a small sensor that easily attaches to most football, lacrosse, and hockey helmets and instantly sends a signal to a smartphone on the sidelines when the player has taken a hard hit that puts them at higher risk for injury. The free app receives data from the sensor, displays information about the impact, and even walks the user through a concussion assessment. The app also logs symptom and impact data for future medical use. Visit ShotboxDFW.com to learn more about the Shockbox Impact Alert Sensor and determine if it is the right option for your child. Be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head impact that could result in a concussion. Visit ShockboxDFW.com today. ShockboxDFW.com.
We are winding down the halftime festivities here, all the pomp, the pageantry, the color that is Texas high school football on a well-lit Friday night. A little bit of rain peppering down, but that's just a heavy mist blowing in from our north to south, along with Trent Lynch. I'm Brad Denton, and Trent, I teased it a little bit, and let me mark this up front. This is a very unscientific conversation we're going to have, but I mentioned the 14 state championships won in the sport of football by the 9 teams that make up District 6A. Plano's won 7. Allen's won 3. The Louisville Fighting Farmers won 2 there in the 1990s. Marcus won 1. The Hebron Hawks won 1. I think it totals out to 14. And you raised an eyebrow and said, hey, these teams that make up the now District 6A made their mark in other sports as well as state champions, and I got to thinking about that. And one of the entries right here thrilled us last spring with the Hebron girls soccer team under Coach Ramirez claiming a state championship down in Central Texas.
And these aren't historic championships either. These are all recent, Brad. When you take a look at Hebron Hawk volleyball as well, and Flower Mound Jaguar baseball
2014.
You've got the Allen Eagles, who are a dominant wrestling program in the state of Texas, and Louisville 2 years ago with their softball championship.
Yeah, they sure did.
I mean, you look at this district as a whole, and there's not an easy entry for anybody in any sport, essentially, throughout the district.
Hey, only a handful of years ago, Marcus was stringing back-to-back Class 5A basketball championships led by Marcus Smart and Danny Henderson, the then head coach. Plano, the Wildcats historically with football get a lot of attention, the lion's share of attention, but trust me, Plano's boys soccer clubs, the girls soccer under now retired Diane Davey, they have claimed state championship after state championship. And speaking of hardware in the trophy case over there at Plano Senior High School, how about that Class 5A boys basketball championship earned in 2006, not even a decade ago, under then head man Tom Inman. So, hey, it's been fun. I can't even get into the different golf teams. The team tennis at Plano West always seems to be competing in the finals of, and it's a lot of fun. And there's no shortage of a doggone good athletic programs all up and down, and both genders, boys and girls, throughout District 6A. Did I miss one?
You know what? I don't even know all of them, Brad. I guarantee you that it'd take us we'd have to contact somebody to find out and remember what they all are. But just real quick, I thought I'd give you just some quick scores out of District 6A so that everybody's aware of what's going on this very important first week of district play. You have Plano East 12, Flower Mound Jaguars 10 in the second quarter. Flower Mound Marcus leading 14-3 over Louisville in the second quarter. And you have Allen out in front of McKinney Boyd 20-7 also in the second quarter.
You did all that, Trent, with the Wildcat Band blowing out March Grandioso in the background. Life doesn't get much better than that. A reminder that the Hebron Hawks here on Champion Sports Radio, the broadcast of Louisville ISD football, is sponsored by Huff Hines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Plano, where they provide everything automotive along with superb customer service. By Whirlyball, with 2 locations to serve you, both Plano and Hurst. Leagues forming as we speak. Visit them online at whirlyball.info. By In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting marketing company. Call 972-851-7888, or online you'll find them at incommandbroadcasting.com. By Point of Origin Design, a full-service design and logo creation company offering a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products online at pointoforigindesign.com. By ShockboxDFW.com. Be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head injury which could result in a concussion. Visit ShockboxDFW.com today. And by the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra and the new GDYO Jazz Institute. Enjoy a cultural experience and do it with your family. And don't break the bank in the process. Visit gdyo.org for more information. We invite you to stay tuned. We'll have the kickoff of the back half of this one through 2 quarters. It's Plano 21 and Hebron 7. You're listening to Hawk Football on Champion Sports Radio.
The end is here. To get Huff Heinz' lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huff Heinz Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Pay just $259 a month on new Huff Heinz Jeep Liberties. Only $269 a month on new Huff Heinz Chrysler 200s. Or take your choice and pay just $329 a month on new Jeep Grand Cherokees or Dodge Durangos. At both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huff Heinz has it.
In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. In Command Broadcasting provides a wide array of turnkey video production and streaming services. In Command services include filming of sporting events, season highlights, school graduations, corporate infomercials, and documentaries. In Command streams your sporting event or company function over the internet live or on demand. Call 972-851-7888 to raise the energy of your next event. In Command Broadcasting, 972-851-7888.
Shell experts here to talk about the protective shield you see at Shell stations all over the country. Featuring us. It's there to remind you that no other gasoline protects your engine better than Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines. Mm-hmm. Now with 20% more cleaning agents than before.
Performance-robbing gunk doesn't stand a chance because your intake valves and fuel injectors are protected.
Actively shielded.
Hence the big protective shield here.
So try Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines today. No other gasoline protects your engine better.
For quality auto service and repair, see the folks at Flat Shell on Preston Road at I-635.
Stay up on all the latest news about the teams you care about and know when your favorite games are on the air thanks to Champion Sports Radio social media. Either follow at Champion Sports on Twitter or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, and you will know what time your game starts, who was named Player of the Week, or what your school's alumni are doing in college. That's on Twitter at Champion Sports and facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship social media.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
Just moments away from getting the second half of this one kicked off. Hebron will receive. Recall the Hawks won that coin toss and deferred the decision here to the second half, and they're going to say we want the football. They will be working in this third frame into the teeth of this wind, and again, some wet stuff. A heavy mist is falling at Clark Field. Kicking it off for the Plano Wildcats is Tyler Brogan. And I'll bet you Mr. Brogan will have enough foot to get this thing into the end zone should he want to. Hebron dressed tonight in gray trousers, gray jerseys, black headgear. For the Plano Wildcats, the tradition-laden Chicago maroon top-over trouser, white headgear. That's a line drive kick. It's bobbled out of bounds inside the 20-yard line by Christian Dawson. Caromed off the hands, and from the 25, bounced out of bounds at the 17. So Hebron into the wind will go to work in a little bit of territory trouble. Off the third quarter kickoff from the 17-yard line. And trailing the Plano Wildcats by a count of 21-7.
Important drive for the Hawks. Into this win, they've got to get some ground, try and change field position a little bit, because from a punting perspective, if you don't get a couple first downs, you're setting yourself up defensively with a short field.
Well, the quarterback, an 8 on the gray jersey of Colton Chapin, a junior. In the backfield, this guy, Angelo Garbett. Digs outside right side and meets a stop sign some 2-3 yards upfield near the 20-yard line. And that was a vertebra vibrator delivered by Cody Farhat, the supporting safety right when Garbett turned the corner on the edge. He ends up getting 3, but pays a heavy price for it as Farhat really brought the wood. Across the front for Plano, or rather Hebron, Brian Drew at center, Jarrett Farley and Devin Wright, the guards. At tackles, Freddie Danches along with Hayden Seeley. Second down and 7. Try to go outside left side. And Garbett clears the corner 25. Good speed, 30 out to his 40. And knocked out of bounds at the 42-yard line is Angelo Garbett. And that's a gain of 22. And out of the secondary corner, Dejon Howard and safety TJ Lee finally able to catch up with Garbett. Defensively for Plano, Connor Welch and Sam Tecklenburg are the tackles. Tucker Palacia at right end, left end Brandon Wall. Linebackers Nima Bibahani is your middle backer, flanked by outside linebackers Colton Pusateri and Jason Lee. In that secondary, along with Howard and Lee, Cody Farhat and Aaron Regas. Hebron earning a first down on a 22-yard scamper by Garbett at the Hawk 42. They'll go a reverse. That's bobbled in the backfield. Can't be handled by Derek Mueller. He'll lay it down at a big offensive tackle in Hayden Seeley. Sees it on the floor and pounces on it to retain possession for Hebron. In the process, the Hawks lose 7 back to the 35-yard line.
That is a really tough play to execute because it wasn't a handoff from Garbett to Mueller. It was a pitch, each man going the opposite direction. If that's not timed perfectly, it's going to end up on the ground more often than not.
And it wasn't timed perfectly, and now second down and 17. Running play. Garbett, corner, left. He'll step up field for the gain of 4 to the 39 and rolled out of bounds by Farhat. That's Farhat. Cody, a good one. That's a headhunter of a safety, and he's only 5'11 and 185.
Chris Brayman, the fullback, doing a nice job lead blocking and blocking the end out on that run.
But big all of a sudden, Hebron confronted with a third down and working, as Coach Brazel told us before the ballgame, where they can't work from behind the chains. After the negative first down play, it's now all of a sudden third down 13. Wet stuff picking up a little bit, as is the breeze in from south to north. Here's Chapin trying to do it himself on a little quarterback draw, and Plano doesn't buy it. And on that tackle for the Wildcats is Ja'Cory Sanders, that sophomore linebacker, getting some play time, and Hebron forced to kick it away after achieving 1 first down.
It's one of those plays, Brad, where with that wind, you just can't afford to throw it into that wind the way it's blowing. It's wet. And Hebron playing it safe on that one, hoping to do some misdirection, faking the handoff to Garbett.
Staten Turley will snap it to his punter in Jake Gennard. Gennard, hat high snap, will get the kick away into the wind, will not be returned. And boy, that wind just knocked that thing straight down. In fact, it's going to be a net 11 yards from the 39 out to midfield, and one hop inbounds and immediately out of bounds. And Plano licking their chops with the field position. The Wildcats lead at 2 touchdowns, 21-14. Right at 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter. And Brandon Stevens and company would love to really separate this thing and stretch that 14-point lead. Somebody's got to play some defense here on the series for Hebron. It's going to be Stevens working out of a Wildcat set to take the snap, and he's alone in the backfield. He'll run it hard left side. Hebron defends marvelously. That's a great stick-to-itive by defensive end David Brazel as he matched Stevens step for step and rode him out the sideline across the way.
Plano had 3 receivers split wide to the right. Stevens ran against that lead block, hoping to create some misdirection, and beautiful play there defensively for the Hawks.
Now authored by one returning starter in David Brazel. And yes, he is the head coach's son. Second down and 12 after the 2-yard loss. That's Waterbury now in at quarterback. He'll run a little option that's solved by Cody Eberhardt. Eberhardt grabbed a hold of Waterbury, not the fleetest of quarterbacks, and got him in a shoulder pad high, just a throwdown tackle.
The left guard, Austin Pugh, pulled on that play, did not make the block, and left his quarterback, Quinn Waterbury, kind of hanging out to dry. He didn't have an opportunity to get away from the Hebron defense.
This game number 70 for seventh-year head man Jadon McCullough, looking for win number 40, 39-30 into it. Waterbury, third down long, draw play. Stevens, a little bit of room, but that door closes in a hurry, and Hebron does have a defensive stand here. That's Eberhardt one more time leading the way. And with a win at the backside on Gallup's punter, Tyler Brogan.
Jamison Cooper did a really nice job of kind of blowing that up a little bit to give Eberhardt that opportunity to come in and make that play.
The deep snapper is Hayes Schmidt. He'll be firing that baby into the wind. The punter, Brogan, will kick wind at the backside. Number high snap, kick away, looking for the angle, and he'll find it. Brogan, that one tightrope on the sideline, inside the 20, inside the 15, and it's finally out of bounds right on top that 15-yard line. And from there, Hebron will try to make a little hay offensively, initiating the possession from the Hawk 15-yard line at 7:24 of a third quarter. And a Clark Field count at Plano 21, Hebron 7.
A big stop defensively for the Hebron Hawks on that opening drive for the Plano Wildcats in the second half. See what that Hawk offense has to push back now.
It's Brayman at fullback. It's a tailback in Angelo Garbett. Chapin continues to go at quarterback. That's a little Garbett carry, trying to get it outside, and there comes the defenders for Plano, and they'll knock down Angelo Garbett. A loss of one to the 14-yard line. Farhat was there, along with Ja'Cory Sanders. That's a linebacker, and that's a safety, and that's simply because Plano is packing 9, sometimes 10 men into what they call the box between the tackles.
It's really tough to get any room to run the football for the Hebron Hawks because those Wildcats they're just keying on Angelo Garbett, and as soon as he moves, they're moving the same direction as Angelo Garbett is, and it's tough to get away from.
Slater and Mueller are wide. A toss to Garbett. He'll try to reverse field, and there they come. Ears pinned back, and Plano defensively turning in a good series. Back-to-back negative plays for Hebron, and Plano's forced Hebron into a third down and 15.
2 drives in a row, 3rd and 15, exactly what you mentioned earlier, Brad. Just Hebron is not a team built for 3rd and 15.
Tomas Venegas on the latest tackle. First time we've seen number 29 out there getting a jersey dirty. This is Chapin out of a shotgun set, and he'll try to scramble his way and get back to the original line of scrimmage. Maybe, maybe not. No, they'll say the knee was knocked down by Bibahani. Touchdown at the 13, so 4th down and 12 for Hebron, and they'll be forced to punt it into the wind.
Bibahani just all over the field tonight, playing really nice defensively. He and Farhart definitely leading the charge.
Staten Turley called up from the JV. Now the deep snapper, TJ Lee deployed. He's in Hebron territory inside the 40-yard line. A good snap. Oh, it's going to be a fake. Look out. On his way out to the 25. Has to get the 30. Doesn't get there. Or has to get the 25. And Gennard, Hebron's punter, Jake Gennard, is just hammered over the boundary. 2 steps shy by TJ Lee at the 23-yard line. The ball goes over on downs.
Hammered is a little bit of an understatement. That was a beautiful hit by TJ Lee. Hebron taking that chance rather than punting against this wind, and almost got it.
Almost did get it. Nice effort by Jake Gennard, but just a breath shy. So a short field in front of Quinn Waterbury and company. They'll go strength to the formation to the right, the wide side. They'll run that way with Stevens. Breaking to the edge, break one tackle on his way. 20, 15, tackled inside the 5 and spun down. First down, goal to go. Wildcats at the Hawks 3-yard line. The touchdown saving tackle authored by cornerback Jelani Heath on Brandon Stevens after the gain of 20 yards.
That time, Sam Tecklenburg just drove, and I tell you what, he put a block on Corey Eberhardt. Eberhardt had no chance to stop that run.
Plano from the 3, work from the right hash mark. Waterbury under center. Toss sweep, Stevens digs to the pylon, going to get a 3-yard touchdown run. Brandon Stevens, how about number 4 on the night? Caleb Sauter maybe had a shot, but not able to touch Stevens. And a 4th touchdown of the night, number 8 on the year for Mr. Stevens. This one from 3 yards away. The holders, Parker Myers and Tyler Brogan, a senior, a good kicker. He's been perfect tonight. He stays perfect tonight in the point after touchdown department. 4 for 4. Plano opens up their big lead of the ball game. It's the Wildcats 28 and Hebron 7 on Champion Sports Radio.
The end is here. To get Huff Heinz' lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huff Heinz Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Take your choice and pay just $269 a month on new Chrysler Town & Countries or Dodge Grand Caravans. Or take your choice and pay just $329 a month on new Chrysler 300s or Dodge Chargers at both locations of Huff Heinz Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huff Heinz has it.
The Plano Wildcats take advantage of, stopping Hebron's fake punt and getting a good field position. That drive covers a mere 24 yards. And it's Stevens again, Brandon, this time from 3 yards out at 4:32 of a third quarter.
A mere 2 plays for those 24 yards.
Wow. And both feeding Brandon Stevens, and why not? Here's Tyler Brogan. That should be returned. Will be by Garbett from the 8. Angelo across the 15, not going to achieve the 20. TJ Lee is featured on the kick cover tackle on Angelo Garbett at the 18.5-yard line.
TJ Lee, just beautiful job of getting down the field and
good
catching
player.
Angelo Garbett from the backside.
A hungry football player.
Oh, my goodness. And Garbett's not easy to bring down, but Lee just used that speed, grabbed him,
scissored him down there, got him about thigh pad on down and pulled him down. Kind of like that old rodeo, that hog tie move. Well, here's the Hebron Hawks offensively trailing by 3 touchdowns. The quarterback is Chapin. He'll put it on a hip and roll to the right side and clear a corner with good speed. Step for 5-10. Give him 12 and a first down. And out to the 30-yard line, that's TJ Lee. Finally able to shuck him out of bounds. It's a good block for young Colton Chapin. Thrown by his roomie there in the backfield, Angelo Garbett.
Jarrett Farley with a nice kick-out block on that play as well.
Well, there's no calf rope in these Hawks, I can assure you of that. Is that too old school a term, calf rope? You've heard of it?
No, I've heard of it.
Here's Chapin, going to try to do it himself and lose yardage right there from the 30 back to the 26-yard line. He looked inside and then tried to kind of bounce outside, giving ground a bit, but Connor Welsh, that big defensive tackle, penetrating Hebron's backfield and gets the wrap-up tackle, and one of the Wildcat defenders slow to get up. An official timeout will stop a third quarter clock at 3 minutes and 49 seconds, and we'll step out with them. Our count from Clark Field, Plano 28 and Hebron 7. You're listening to Hawk Football on Champion Sports Radio.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores! 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
Well, back to play with a little toss on 2nd down and 14, and trying to do a little window shopping. Not much there behind the right side of his offensive line. Angelo Garbett, gain of 2, 3rd down 12. Hebron Bibahani, that middle linebacker who I can promise is in double digits in the tackle department on the stop. TJ Lee was the cause for the pause, and he bounced up at the Wildcat safety for the moment, spelled by Jonathan Barassa. Working in the defensive backfield. No, in fact, that's Cameron Jackson now working along Farhat at safety. Jackson spelling Lee at the moment. Chapin to throw, and deep, and that's a tight end, Joe Martin, and he can't bring it in at the 45, trying to stretch and dive for it. Jackson, who I just mentioned, was on the coverage of Hebron tight end Joe Martin, the deep target.
You could just see the wind knock that ball down and drift it right to left.
Yeah. And it's got to be getting pretty damp out there. Not raining hard, but this has been consistent for the last 45 minutes anyway. And I'd call it a heavy mist and blowing in waves into the face of the Hawks, moving from south to north and punting from south to north. Here is Jake Gennard, ball in the air, not going to be returned from midfield. A Plano bounce to the Hebron 47. And putting a stop on it there for the Hawks. Wearing a 3-2 down the field, or a 1-3 in Christian Dawson and also Dallas Shagoya. And Plano, leading by 3 scores, can run away and start hiding should they cash in here.
3rd drive of the half, the 50-yard line, Hebron's 24-yard line, and now Hebron's 47-yard line.
The little man, Euro, in the backfield. Gets a handoff, a nice spin move. Head down to the 35, to the 30. Breaks a final tackle and on his way. See you later on a 47-yard touchdown dash for Lapaka Euro. The 5'2", 145-pound running back for the Plano Wildcats. A 3rd touchdown on the season for Mr. Euro.
Looked like a little swing dancer out there. Spin to the left and a couple steps, spin to the right. Out of the reach of the Hebron Hawk defense, and boy, he's quick once he got going downfield.
Lapaka Euro. There's the point after touchdown, drilled through by Plano's Tyler Brogan. Boy, the Wildcats are about to run away and hide late 3rd quarter. 2:19 remaining in that 3rd frame, and Plano has stretched the lead now to 35-7 over the Hebron Hawks.
The end is here. To get Huffines' lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huffines' Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Pay just $259 a month on the all-new 2013 Huffines Dodge Darts. Only $269 a month on new Huffines Ram Quad Cabs. Or only $279 a month on new Huffines Ram Crew Cabs. At both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huffines has it.
That's a busy youngster for Plano. No, and I'm not talking about Brandon Stevens. Talking about that kicker, Tyler Brogan, now 5 of 5 in the point after touchdown department.
Well, I guess Plano wanted to give somebody other than Brandon Stevens the opportunity to score a touchdown tonight. Only one play, 47 yards, 13 seconds. I'll tell you what, Lapaka Euro, swirling dervish into the end zone.
Yeah, made it happen in a hurry. Here's Brogan. And here's Garbett from the goal line 5 to the 10, 15, little seam 20. Break a tackle 30, spin out of a would-be tackle at the 35, and then the swipe tackle made near the 39. A nice return by Angelo Garbett, and Deshaun Howard is the last line of defense, and he does get enough of Angelo's sock to trip him up at the 39.
Brad, I've heard you say it before. It's getting late early, or something like that. How do you?
It certainly is. I think Yogi said that when he was playing left field late in his career. Those October shadows at Yankee Stadium came out over left field, and he misplayed a fly ball. And he said to the reporter when they said what happened, he said it gets late early out there. Here's Hebron's Angelo Garbett slashing off of right tackle and out to the 45-yard line. And so Yogi was telling the truth. It did get early out there, and he misplayed a fly ball.
Well, and it is getting to be that way right now for the Hawks. They're not built as a comeback team. 35-7 with only a minute 11 left in this third quarter, and Hebron has to do something in this drive.
Now they just got to hitch up the britches and compete here for another 13 minutes. Nice run gain of 6, Garbett. He'll knock on that door one more time off tackle right side and pick up 6 more and a first down as he's rolled out of bounds across the way in Hebron territory, or rather Plano territory, at the 49-yard line. Cameron Jackson is the guy credited with the stop across the way. Clock will wind down those final 40 ticks of our third quarter.
Hebron looking forward to getting that wind at their back in the fourth quarter.
This was a 21-7 halftime ball game, and Plano's answered with a couple of third quarter scores. A break for Angelo Garbett, and here's Trey Pugh getting a carry out of the backfield, able to step out of a first wave of tacklers, but there's Colton Pusatari, a linebacker, on the stop after the Pugh carry ends up with a 3-yard gain.
Just a power running game when you have Angelo Garbett and then Trey Pugh come in. Those aren't small running backs.
No, they are. And with that latest Pugh carry, our third quarter will conclude. And as the Plano Wildcat Band begins to strike up the strains of March Grandioso, we are through 3 at John Clark Field. At the end of the third quarter, our score: the Plano Wildcats 35, the Hebron Hawks 7.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
A fresh 12, a final 12 minutes of this one posted on the Clark Field scoreboard. Change ends of the field now. Hebron will be wind aided in this fourth quarter. And we're about to get it underway with the 2nd down and 7. And the scramble by Colton, the quarterback, Chapin, up the sideline and to the 40-yard line, but a flag out of the hip pocket of our referee, Mr. Mickey Jenkins, while the play was unfolding. And I think he might have cited a hold near the line of scrimmage. In fact, that is the indication. So the Chapin run, which looked like it did not quite enough damage to convert 2nd down and 7 to 1st and 10, but he did gain half a dozen. All of that will be erased on the hold whistled against the Hebron Hawks.
Brad, I tell you what, this Plano Stadium environment is a lot of fun. You know, the history of this program, the history of the band, March Grandioso, the paws waving in the stands, the growl of the Wildcat in the background, and as you enter the fourth quarter, the fans waving those paws and holding up 4 fingers on their other hand. It's pretty electric in here when Plano's on the right side of the score.
Well, Trent, it is, and I experienced a whole bunch of that. I'll disclose 28 seasons of broadcasting Wildcat football, 1979 through 2006, and then I changed colors and started working the Hawks. Still have a lot of great friends here in Plano, a lot of wonderful memories. Conley McCabe has checked into that defensive front, and he's wearing a couple of 4s on the maroon jersey, and he's going to bag Colton Chapin for a big loss on the play. Went behind Kyle Musell, who is now spelling Jarrett Farley in the offensive line at right guard. 3rd down, 23. Hebron Hawks from the Hawk 38-yard line. Trailing big 35-7. Go running play. Garbett, the corner, gallops down the sideline and steps on the boundary. Back upfield at the 45-yard line. So a gain of 7 there. I think Angelo thought he might have stayed inbounds because he was laying it out on the far sideline, thinking he might have the distance job while the whistles were blowing the play dead.
If he had stayed inbounds, he probably would have picked up the first down, but pushed out the edge by the Wildcat defense. And, 4th and 16, Hebron's going to have to punt the ball.
Well, they'll bring out Jake Gennard and Staten Turley to make the deep pass and save that initial snap. Turley's done a nice job tonight. And the deep snap to his punter. Gerard, this one off the side of the foot, gets some help from the wind at a very friendly hop as it surfaced in the vicinity of the Plano 25 and tumbles out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Plano has won the 7 state championships, and Trent, they did it over a period of 30 seasons, 1965 through 1994. The biggest architects of those, winning 6 of the 7, were one John Clark. How about his 10-year record as a head coach at Plano High School? 1966 through 75, 107 in the win column, 17 losses.
There's a reason why this field is named after him.
John Elbert Clark. There's Euro trying to go off tackle, and Caleb Sauter with an open field stop on Euro after a gain of 2 on first down at the 10:40 mark. John Clark was succeeded by an assistant off the staff, Tommy Kimbrough. And you talk about a marriage of man and moment that lasted some 16 seasons. Kimbrough took over into 1976, finally hung up the whistle 16 seasons later after the 1991 campaign. There's a handoff, and there's a big fucking fullback, and that's Gray out to the 30-40, on his feet 50, and finally Holford gets an angle, and Clay Holford will roll down. Bobby Gray, the fullback, after a huge gain to Hebron's 36-yard line.
The entire Hebron defense moved to their left, and boy, it was wide open on the right side of that Hebron defense.
By the way, for Tom Kimbrough in those 16 seasons, along with three state championships, an overall record of 171 wins against a mere 28 losses and 4 ties.
And there's a field northeast of here that's named after him as well.
Yeah, over in Murphy, the other Plano ISD varsity complex where they do stage varsity games. Here's Euro, inside, outside, head down to the 30 and bang down at the 27-yard line. And that's a big hit by Clay Holford. And some of the Plano faithful below us taking exception to it, as it was awful doggone close to the sideline. And I tell you what, if you're Lapaka Euro at 5'10", 145, and you run into Holford, who hits like a sledgehammer at 6'2", 230, you might not want to do that all that often.
And Antoine Partee was, he was kind of the icing on the cake on that one. It was all set up for him to come in and have a nice little piece of that tackle as well.
But really walking the tightrope there was Holford. He maybe would have gotten a flag out of a different official. Here's Quinn Waterbury. Handed away. There's the little man one more time, Euro, and he's sliced down as he crosses the line of scrimmage. And from the 27, he'll gain 3. Jarrett Lee, Hebron's nose guard on the tackle. Plano just being very conservative here, watching seconds slip away, nursing the 28-point advantage as our short field count at 35-7. Quinn Waterbury, junior quarterback, pressed into starting duty before halftime of the season opener. And his right hand's heavily taped. I'm not sure if that's a bruise or what, but he's managed a pretty good ball game. That's a little toss outside to Euro. A flag down as Euro's raced down and pulled down on top of the 20-yard line. On the stop for Hebron is Julian Harris, a defensive end who's had some good moments tonight. But that late flag, I think, is going to go against, well, I'm not going to guess. I'm going to wait for Mr. Mickey Jenkins to clear the air. Holding against Plano, the initial infraction indication.
I think Eberhardt got tackled on that play. He was pulled down. But his defense has to be getting a little tired. You know, if Hebron's converted 1, 2 third downs this entire game, this defense has been on the field a lot. And they just have not had an opportunity to get that rest that you need against a power offense like Plano's doing.
Just now ticking inside the 8-minute mark of this final frame. The mark-off against Hebron, or rather against Plano for holding back to the Hawk 34-yard line from their first down 20. And handed away, and Gary sachets by 1, 2, and then tackled a two-man effort. Heath is there down low and will be credited with the first hit and the tackle for the Hawks. Off at Gary on the inside handoff, same play that broke for big yardage previously on this series of downs. Those final 7.5 minutes can't slip away fast enough for the Hebron Hawks.
Plano's done a really nice job of mixing it up a little bit tonight between Brandon Stevens and a couple fullbacks. You know,
Mr. Euro.
Yeah, Mr. Euro. They've done a nice job offensively.
Waterbury under, very conservative, straight handoff. Euro bounces outside, good speed down to the 25 and run down inside the 20, tackled by Jordan Johnson, a defensive halfback at the 19-yard line.
It's kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, Euro, it was meant to go up the middle. Euro, the small guy, says, "There's a huge line there. I can't get through there." And all he did was run as fast as he could to the left, and he found the edge.
Maybe they won't see me, and maybe they didn't.
Yeah.
At 5'2".
Boy. He cut on a dime, I'll tell you that, because he had to.
Certainly our thanks in order to the folks and friends of mine, certainly at the Plano Independent School District Athletic Department. Athletic directors Gerald Brentz, assisted by Ralph Hines, by Russ Schuler, by Sharon Rollins. From the 19, handed away to Gary, and he'll put the head down, drive for 3, and tackled at the 20. That was on 3rd and 5. Now should be 4th down and 2. Jamison Cooper is on the stop. Gerald Brentz, by the way, the current AD, had a 16-year tenure himself as the Wildcat headman, preceding current headman Jadon McCullough. Gerald had the reins from 1992 through 2007, won 120 while losing 70, along with a tie and along with the state championship in 1994. Timeout. Hebron Hawks will stop the clock at 5:34, and we'll go away. And on the other side, we'll see Plano's 4th and 2 effort. 5:34, fourth quarter. Plano 35, Hebron 7 on Champion Sports Radio.
Stay up on all the latest news about the teams you care about and know when your favorite games are on the air thanks to Champion Sports Radio social media. Either follow @Champion Sports on Twitter or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, and you will know what time your game starts, who was named Player of the Week, or what your school's alumni are doing in college. That's on Twitter @Champion Sports. and Facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship social media.
After the Hebron timeout, here's Plano offensively. Confronted with 4th down and 2 from the Hebron 16-yard line. Waterbury under center, calling for the football. Mecklenburg, the tight end, to the right side. Running right and getting the first down is hit at the 14 to the 13-yard line. Squirts Lapaka Euro. Brandon Stevens is done for the 9. Well, at least that's what I said, but here he comes onto the surface, spelling the little midget with the digits, 5'2", Lapaka Euro. 145 pounds for Euro. So Stevens back into the ball game, and Brandon Stevens has scored 4 of the 5 Plano touches tonight, and he's always dangerous as he's in the ball game. Clock ticking towards the 5-minute mark. Plano will be, I think, quite conservative here. They just as soon not score. So much respect between Brian Brazel and Jadon McCullough. There's a collision. They tried to go with a counter dive to the fullback, Bobby Gray, and Gray ran squarely into his quarterback, Quinn Waterbury, and then staggered backwards and tackled by Dallas Shagoya there. And a loss of a couple back to the 14-yard line. It's 2nd down and a dozen.
I think Brandon Stevens was a decoy on that play to start with, because he goes in for one play and he comes right back out. They're hoping to do something on that last play without him.
Waterbury under. 2nd down and 12. Again, a very conservative running play, and back into the ball game and knocked down after a 3-yard gain to the 11 is the little man, Lapaka Euro, David Brazel. One thing they do know how to do here in Plano, and they saw Tommy Kimbrough and those guys do it game in, week out, have a comfortable lead, play it close to the vest, burn off the time. We're not trying to embarrass anybody. And I harken back to a couple of weeks ago with Coppell, the very healthy lead and throwing the football late, and it just didn't taste real good.
It doesn't, Brad. These are high school kids out there still playing ball. This isn't the NCAA where points is about everything making it into the playoffs. This is about playing the game right.
3rd down 9 from the 11. The Euro tackled back at the 12, and that's Caleb Sauter with a nice open field read from the safety position and making the tackle on the Euro youngster. And it's 4th down 11, Plano.
It's just it's a classy program, and you've been around it a long time. And it starts with, classy coaches who established a program and made it what it is, and that tradition has continued. And I mean, it's fun to see you come back here and just see the love that this community has for you.
Well, you're kind. I better enjoy that for a while, because there's a handoff on 4th and forever, and Lapako tries to break it outside, but the ball will go over on downs as Euro only gains 5, and Jacob Ragsdale, an inside linebacker, is on the tackle, and the ball will go over for the final 2 minutes and 38 seconds, and I think we'll put a seal on this one at Plano 35 and Hebron 7. And hats off to you, Jadon McCullough, for exhibiting the class that is Plano Wildcat football in a historical sense there, and not trying to roll up big numbers to try to get on top of some Thursday morning aggregate type in the Dallas Morning News.
Well,
thank you.
Those rankings mean nothing, and I'll tell you what, that is a class act, and congratulations to Jadon for having the right game plan and bringing Plano this win tonight.
And ringing up win number 40 against 30 losses. This is a running play by Chapin. He able to squirt away from disaster 7 yards deep in his backfield, outrun a couple of would-be Wildcat reserve tacklists that didn't have the proper angle, and keep for what ends up being a 1-yard gain. Finally run down by Wall, the defensive end.
We really didn't know what to expect out of the Wildcats tonight, but they did play a good John Tyler team. First game of the year. number one ranked 5A team in the state. Pretty darn tough.
Well, for a long time. It ended up with John Tyler kind of running away late. And here's Hebron with a brand new running back, a scampering up the field, 20-25, out to the 30-35, and rolling into Plano territory, and finally tackled inside the Wildcat 35, and a flag down late, and the youngster who did the ball carrier in there, and that's the first carry of the year for Reggie Evans, a senior reserve running back. And he doesn't stretch it very tall at 5'6", 177 pounds.
And I don't think that the Wildcats brought him down until they grabbed his face mask to bring him down, and that's the reason that we've got the yellow flag laying on the field right now.
My goodness, the line of scrimmage was the 11-yard line. He carries it, well, the 39 yards to midfield and then downfield for another 15 or 20 yards. So I'm saying 50-plus on the gain of Reggie Evans on what I believe was his initial carry of the varsity career.
It was his initial carry, and it was a nice carry. He found the open holes and made it happen.
Trey Pugh back into the ball game, working at running back. Here's Chapin, quarterback going to do it himself, outside left side to the 10, and angled out of bounds at the 7-yard line. Colton Chapin scrambling right there, a scramble by design and a gain of nearly 10 yards. And run out of bounds by Anawi Wright. And that's if you were looking at the surname of Obali, you'd think it might be a nickname of iChart. Here's Hebron. Inside, Chapin rattling around between the tackles and pinballing to the 5, to the 4, and down to the 3-yard line. Cameron Jackson, a safety on the late tackle for the Wildcats. At the minute 47 mark of a fourth quarter in a lopsided ball game, Hebron on the sidewalk about to knock on touchdowns door. Reggie Evans back into the ball game at running back. Chapin under. Colton, little toss. Evans digging outside, head down, drives, touchdown. Reggie Evans from 3 yards away.
Reggie Evans saying after that long run and that drive, give it to me. Feed it to me. Let me score the touchdown. One thing about this Hebron Hawk team, never, ever will the coach Brian Brassel team give up and just, lay down for any point of the game. I mean, they're going to try and do what they can.
They're working hard. Some years you have more dry powder than other years, and Brian Brassel would be the first one to raise your hand and say, I deal with that every year. Here's Kyler Terry. It's Chapin, in fact, on the ball game now to hold. And the spot down for Terry, and Kyler bangs it through, and Hebron's closed the gap back to 21. As we go with a new score late, fourth quarter, 1:27 remaining. And a new count at Plano, 35 and Hebron 14.
The end is here. To get Huffines' lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huffines' Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Pay just $259 a month on new Huffines Jeep Liberties. Only $269 a month on new Huffines Chrysler 200s. Or take your choice and pay just $329 a month on new Jeep Grand Cherokees or Dodge Durangos. At both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huffines has it.
About to kick this thing off, but give me the details on the late Hebron scoring drive, a second Hawk drive for points this evening.
5 plays, 90 yards, 2 of those carries by Reggie Evans. The last one, a 3-yard run for his first touchdown of the year. Only 2 touches this year, so good for him. A minute 11 off of the clock. There's only 1:27 left here in the ball game. It's Plano 35, Hebron 14.
Nick Horiatis to kick it off for Hebron. And see if they try a little pooch kick or something to get a late possession. Maybe the onside. Here's Horiatis. Now it's kicking it away. Brandon Stevens dangerous. can't make the grab over the shoulder one step into the end zone, so he'll retrieve it and go down on a knee. And they'll bring it out to the 25-yard line, and Plano looks to just kind of bleed off those final 97 ticks on the Clark Field scoreboard. By the way, this series tied at 3. Plano won the first 3, 2008 at Hawk Stadium, 41-28. A ball game closer than that final. That was a really fine ball game. Here in 09, 31-30 Wildcats win. At Kimbrough Stadium in Murphy, the two squared off in 2010. Plano a 33-6 winner. Plano running play and not much from the 25 to the 28-yard line. A gain of 3 there. And the carry for Cameron Jackson is first of the night. After Plano winning those first 3, Hebrons won the most recent 3 in 2011, 31-24 at Hebron. Here, 2 years ago, winning 24-21. And a year ago at Hawk Stadium, Hebron rather dominant, winning 28-7. But tonight, it will be the Plano Wildcats returning that favor, registering likewise the 21-point winner.
Well, there were some good games in that now 7-game series with some tremendous athletes.
My favorite was that 08 game when Hebron had the Justin Owuji. Good heavens, Darius Staten, and the list goes on and on. But Plano had Rex Burkhead returning a late second quarter kickoff that in fact kind of proved to be the difference. And Hebron had made a mistake on the previous kickoff where they had Plano trapped inside the 15. But a late stupid foul made Hebron have to kick it off again. This time it was Mr. Burkhead to the house.
Rex Burkhead went on to star at Nebraska. Just an incredible athlete, well-rounded athlete in all sports. And boy, I can remember that touchdown return. Fun
to talk to rookie Wildcat varsity assistant quarterback coach Carson Meager before the ball game, and we were talking about that first ever meeting, his senior season, Rex Burkhead's senior season. And I tell you what, they had their hands full against a good Wildcat, a good Hebron team, but that was a tremendous Plano team. And it's funny how the worm turns and the cycle rolls. These two tonight not close talent-wise to where those two were a mere 6 years ago, but perhaps 6 years from now we'll be where we were.
Yeah, you just, there's not a program out there that doesn't go through that process. And I'm sure, both teams will.
They don't think that way in Allen and Carroll right now, or DeSoto or over at Euless, but they do.
No,
they
happens,
will go
right?
down. Yeah. Hey, the final seconds have slipped away, and we do go final here. And Plano breaks that tie. The Wildcats have now won 4 of the 7 meetings. The final tonight, Plano 35 and Hebron 14 for the Wildcats. That'll, as I say, manufacture a mini winning streak. Their second in a row. 2 wins, 1 loss overall. Most importantly for Jadon McCullough and his staff and his roster of players, thrilled to death to get out of the District 6A gate on the winning foot. They are 1-0 in district competition. For Brian Brazel and his Hebron Hawks, 0 for 3 on the season. The first time the Hawks have opened 0 for 3 since that 2008 team I was gushing about talent-wise just moments ago. The 2008 team went on after going 0-3 to win 8 in a row. I don't know if this bunch is going to do that, but we'll be there to see what they do, and they need to keep the heads up and keep battling. Hebron now 0-3, 0-1 in 6A play. Well, we'll take a look back at this one and a look ahead for these ball clubs with our postgame programming. It is up next. You're listening to Hebron Hawk Football on Champion Sports Radio.
This broadcast is under the direction and is copywritten by Champion Sports Radio. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or use of the audio stream, and any and all other use of the accounts of this broadcast without the direct written consent and permission of Champion Sports Radio is strictly prohibited. All rights are reserved by Champion Sports Radio and ChampionSportsRadio.com. This is a presentation of Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcasts.
The end is here. To get Huffines' lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huffines' Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Take your choice and pay just $269 a month on new Chrysler Town & Countries or Dodge Grand Caravans. Or take your choice and pay just $329 a month on new Chrysler 300s or Dodge Chargers at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Popeyes has it.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that nearly 4 million brain injuries occur every year due to sports in the U.S. They also estimate that 70% of concussions go unreported. Not identifying concussions early can be devastating, especially if the athlete continues to play with symptoms. Catching hard hits fast is critical, and that's why you need the Shockbox Helmet Impact Sensor. The Shockbox is a small sensor that easily attaches to most football, lacrosse, and hockey helmets and instantly sends a signal to a smartphone on the sidelines when the player has taken a hard hit that puts them at higher risk for injury. The free app receives data from the sensor, displays information about the impact, and even walks the user through a concussion assessment. The app also logs symptom and impact data for future medical use. Visit ShopboxDFW.com to learn more about the Shockbox Impact Alert Sensor and determine if it is the right option for your child. Be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head impact that could result in a concussion. Visit ShockboxDFW.com today. ShockboxDFW.com.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores! 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be 3 things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute. Online at gdyo.org/jazz.
Many heart conditions can be fixed, but many of us don't know we have a problem until it's too late. On April 2, 2009, Zachary Schraw, a 16-year-old sophomore offensive lineman, died of sudden cardiac arrest, the number 1 cause of death among student athletes. Like so many SCA victims, Zach had no heart issues, nor did anyone in his family. If Zach had an echocardiogram, he might have been able to avoid suffering a condition that takes 10,000 of our youth each year. In his memory, Living for Zachary was formed to try and prevent SCA from taking the lives of youth everywhere. Join in the fight today and stop the silent killer of SCA by scheduling your young athlete for an echocardiogram, a procedure that can detect any heart issue with 99% accuracy. For more information, visit www.livingforzachary.org. That's living4zachary.org, and let your heart be heard.
The tally concludes at Clark Field at Plano 35 and Hebron 14 for head coach Brian Brazel, tagged with a third loss in his many starts this year. Now in his 15th season, the Brian Brazel record, a very admirable 105 wins now against 62 losses. Hebron, by the way, with 11 playoff appearances in the previous 14 years of varsity football. This Plano team, their excellence dates back for absolute decades. 49 playoff appearances dating back to the early 30s. Trent Lynch, but hey, the Wildcats win it tonight, 35-14, and as I mentioned, Plano to 2 wins, 1 loss. Hebron to 0-3. Here's how we got to the final. It was Plano taking the game's opening kickoff, and they didn't hang on to it long, but they did go a long way with it. A 3-play drive, 75 yards in total. Brandon Stevens with the final 67 steps, again on the third play of the possession, and hadn't even gotten 2 minutes into it, and Plano had raced out to the 7-0 lead on the Tyler Brogan point after touchdown. Second possession, after stopping Hebron, Plano scores again, this time the longest of drives at 99 plus yards in reality. They cover that in 11 plays, score a second touchdown at the 4:44 mark of our first quarter. And again, it's Brandon Stevens, this time on a 6-yard touchdown run. Bragan's point after touchdown takes it to 14-0 Plano. Well, Hebron answers later in that first quarter of play on the ensuing possession, as a matter of fact, on a 1-play, 66-yard touchdown run from Angelo Garbett. For Angelo, touchdown run number 5 on the season. Again, a 66-yard dash, and Hebron brings on Kyler Terry, and they'll knock through the point after touchdown, and all of a sudden, you kind of might have a little ball game on your hand late first quarter. And Hebron had closed to 14-7. And in fact, that's how we concluded our first quarter of play. And this play rolled into a second quarter, which was all Plano. In fact, the only points of the frame come on the tail end of a 10-play, 53-yard drive that chews up over 4 minutes of that second quarter clock. The Wildcat touchdown coming at the 3-minute 6-second mark. And it's a 9-yard touchdown run by, guess who, third of the night, number 7 on the year for the junior, Brandon Stevens. Again, the youngster stands 6 foot and 192 pounds, and one of the real treasured underclassmen running backs, certainly in the north central Texas area, but I'll make you wish he's on a lot of people's recruiting list, Brandon Stevens, and it'll be interesting to see what Brandon Stevens ended up with in total this evening on top of his 4 touchdowns. The 9-yard Stevens run takes it to halftime, and Plano's 14-point lead, 21-7. Third quarter, nobody scores but Plano, and the Wildcats do it twice. First at the 4-minute 32-second mark on a 2-play, 24-yard drive, 3-yard run. Brandon Stevens, his 4th of the night, number 8 on the season, his last of the night, takes the Plano lead to 28-7 after the Brogan point after touchdown. In that same third quarter, at 2:19 remaining, they give Stevens a blow and put in a little man named Lapaka Euro, 5'2" 145-pound, quick as a cat junior running back, and they give it to Euro on the first play of a late third quarter drive, and he scampers 47 yards, do it on that first play, and scores with 2:19 remaining. And that opened up Plano's biggest lead of the ball game at 35-7. That's where we were as we took the third quarter into the fourth quarter and pretty much played very conservative with the football in that fourth frame, and particularly Plano playing it very close to the vest and trying to bleed off time and little chunks of yardage and let that clock slip away. They finally were unable to convert on a 4th down inside of Hebron's 10-yard line, and the Hawks took over on downs later on in that fourth quarter. I really think there were less than 2.5 minutes left, but Hebron says, well, let me show you what we got. We got some fresh legs over there, and going to bring them in the person of Reggie Evans. And Evans at 5'6", 175 pounds. He gets a little drive started. It ends up being a 5-play, 90-yard Hebron touchdown drive very late. Reggie Evans with the big carry on the drive for some 56, perhaps 57 yards. That put Hebron in pretty good position in Plano territory. Colton Chapin chipped off some yardage and got down to the Plano 3-yard line on a good scamper. And then they gave it to Reggie Evans, and he was able to punch it in through a crowd at the minute 27 mark. The Reggie Evans touchdown puts Hebron to within 35-13 and bring on Tyler Carey, and Carey's point after touchdown completes the arrangements for the Clark Field final. The Plano Wildcats 35 and the Hebron Hawks 14.
Well, Brad, it was a night where offensively Hebron just
couldn't do
much, and the Wildcats had 8-9 guys in the box, and I tell you, when you see the statistics here in a little bit, Angelo Garbett had a really nice night.
I was going to say, in spite of that, Angelo Garbett's still able to make some hay,
but just could not sustain drives and a couple key penalties. But overall, you have to give credit to that Plano Wildcat defense.
They played well,
played very well, and offensively, the Wildcats mixed it up when they needed to and performed well. So, just a tough night for those Hebron Hawks.
A good win for the Plano Senior High School Wildcats, and for Hebron, you load up and you head back home, and you got a Friday night date with the Marauders of Flower Mound Marcus coming to call, and a winnable game if Hebron plays as well as they can.
And Plano has to turn around a short week for the Wildcats as they return Thursday to play Allen.
And I can promise you they're not going to Allen.
Nobody's going to Allen. I believe it's probably at Tommy Kimbrough Stadium.
I'm not sure if it's here or there, and we could look that up, or certainly we'll find out soon enough, but it will be at one of the Plano Independent School District facilities, either here at Clark or across the way at Murphy and Kimbrough Stadium. But Allen comes to call, and like I say, until somebody shows me something different, I don't know if anybody has an answer for Allen. It will be interesting how that thing shook out in the end tonight with McKinney Boyd taking on the Allen Eagles, and Boyd just buoyed up by that win, that upset win last week, closing out non-district play over the Coppell Cowboys. We'll be back, try to get our hands on some stats and maybe look around at some scores filtering in late on a Friday night from Clark Field, where the Plano Wildcats 21 points better than Hebron tonight on Champion Sports Radio.
The end is here. To get Huffines' lowest prices of the year during the final days of Huffines' Model Year-End Sales Event at both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Pay just $259 a month on the all-new 2013 Huffines Dodge Darts. Only $269 a month on new Huffines Ram Quad Cabs. Or only $279 a month on new Huffines Ram Crew Cabs. At both locations of Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram in Plano and Louisville.
Huffines has it.
Stay up on all the latest news about the teams you care about and know when your favorite games are on the air thanks to Champion Sports Radio social media. Either follow @Champion Sports on Twitter or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, and you will know what time your game starts, who was named Player of the Week, or what your school's alumni are doing in college. That's on Twitter @Champion Sports and facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship social media.
Do you need a boost in exposure? Want to reach local, community-minded folks with information about your business? Join the Champion Sports Radio team and advertise during these games. In the last 4 years, Champion Sports Radio has broadcast over 600 games for more than 3.5 million listeners. And Champion Sports Radio wants to help you use major high school sports to reach thousands of local fans right in your community. It's also a way for your business to give back to the community by helping all these well-deserving student athletes get some recognition for their accomplishments. The cost simply can't be beat for the effect it will have. You get a lot of bang for your buck, and best of all, it provides an opportunity for the best advertisement of all, word of mouth. To secure your prime commercial spot during the broadcast, contact Thomas Lee at Champion Sports Radio by phone at 972-741-0334. That's 972-741-0334 or online at championsportsradio.com. Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcast.
Are you tired of only spending time as a family huddled around the TV? Would you like to enjoy some culture with your loved ones without breaking the bank? Then let me introduce you to the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra. The GDYO provides music education and performance opportunities for musically talented youth, but this is no kids' concert. The GDYO comprises 7 different ensembles made up of over 425 talented musicians ages 8 to 18, representing more than 50 communities in North Texas. You won't believe how amazing these ensembles sound until you hear it for yourself. So join them for one of their concerts at the Meyerson Symphony Center or Dallas City Performance Hall. For more information on how to make a donation, as well as a listing of upcoming GDYO concerts, visit gdyo.org. And if you know a talented young musician interested in an unbelievable experience, auditions take place in the spring. Connect with the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and at gdyo.org.
Along with Trent Lynch, Brad Denton, we put a lid on this one after some closing comments. And Trent, some scores did, in fact, show up on the screen.
They did show up on the screen. They did. Here, just a second. I got them, actually. In District 66A, you have Plano East 20, Flower Mound 17 in the fourth quarter. Flower Mound Marcus 28, Louisville 6, also in the fourth quarter. And still showing in the third quarter, Allen 34. McKinney Boyd, after that big win over Coppell last week, comes in and scores 14 so far this game. So Allen dominating McKinney Boyd. And as you said, Allen's, they're out and they're ahead of the pack and definitely they're going to be tough for anybody to catch.
They are loaded and they are just rolling. And when you get that much going for you, you can roll. And they are rolling. And that is an offense that I think is as close to unstoppable as we've seen for a while at the high school level with Murray pulling the trigger.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it's not just this district that's going to be trying to chase Allen. It's probably the rest of the state that is trying to chase the Allen Eagles because of that dynamic offense, especially this year. Lost a ton on defense, but, how do you keep up with them?
Well, you just keep reloading.
Yeah.
And, they come at you in waves and always have. So even though starters are gone, I can assure you there's people, when you play a 16-game schedule, you get a whole lot of opportunity for playtime. And when you win ball games like Allen does, mostly of the lopsided variety, you get a whole bunch of times to get repetitions in varsity competition, not as a starter, but as a backup coming back the next year. So it's very valuable.
Just some stats real quick here, Brad, as you take a look at this ball game. And first downs, Hebron only had 9 first downs in the game. Plano had 14. A lot of quick strikes from Plano. Not a lot of extended drives, but they definitely dominated at the line of scrimmage tonight. But I tell you what, 282 rushing yards for Hebron versus 313 for Plano. As we talked earlier with these spread offenses, you don't necessarily see that every ball game, but a ton of rushing yards between the two teams tonight. But Hebron 0 for 3 passing, no passing yards, while Plano was 4 for 9 for 65 yards. Nice thing for both teams, neither one of them had a turnover this evening. Hebron did have the one fumble on the reverse where they had to pitch, but Hebron was able to get back on the ball. But Angelo Garbett had a big game tonight. 21 carries, 200 yards, almost 10 yards per carry, and he had the one touchdown run. Reggie Evans had those 2 for 60 yards and a touchdown. And, Jake Gennard had one
It's
for 11.
scramble, yeah.
But I tell you,
fake punch that almost worked.
Yep. Then you look at Brandon Stevens for the Plano Wildcats, 15 carries, 131 yards, 4 touchdowns tonight. And Lapaka Yoro, 13 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown. Plano did a really nice job this evening running the ball, as did Hebron. But Plano ends up on the good side of the scoreboard tonight, 35-14.
Well, they'll load up short week and have Allen. And final thoughts on Hebron. They got to pull up the britches and somehow get ready to play host to the Marauders of Marcus a week from tonight.
A nemesis team for a long time for these Hebron Hawks. So, several times that playoff opportunity coming down to the last district game, and Marcus for a long time was that team that they played, and don't know a lot about Marcus this year. New head coach, a new game plan, and Hebron's definitely going to have to step up, because you cannot go 0-2 in district play in this district and
survive for week 11. So bring that defense and wish nothing but the best for Zach Rogers tonight, and see where he's at. But Hebron's got a tough climb, but with Coach Brian Brazel, they'll try and make it. Thank you, Trent. I really enjoyed working with you tonight, and as always, Weston, A-plus job for you, partner, as the remote engineer and producer. The Hebron Hawks on Champion Sports Radio, the broadcast of Louisville ISD football, has been sponsored by Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Plano, where they provide everything automotive along with superb customer service. With a new or used Jeep Dodge Chrysler or Ram from Huffines Chrysler Jeep Dodge Plano, you get a reliable, you get a stylish new car, and you'll get that vehicle at a price that doesn't break the bank. By Whirly Ball, 2 locations to serve you here in Plano and also in Hurst. Leagues forming right now at both locations. Visit them online at whirlyball.info. By In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. Find them online at incommandbroadcasting.com. By Point of Origin Design, a full-service design logo creation company offering a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. Online, you'll find them at pointoforigindesign.com. By shockboxdfw.com, be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head impact that could result in a concussion. Visit shockboxdfw.com today. By the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra and the new GDYO Jazz Institute. Enjoy a cultural experience with your family and do it without breaking that bank. Visit gdyo.org for more information. Hebron Hawks football is a presentation of Champion Sports Radio on Twitter at Champion Sports, Facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, and online at ChampionSportsRadio.com. That concludes tonight's postgame show, brought to you by In Command Broadcasting. For my partner, Trent Lynch, for our engineer-producer, Weston Lynch, I'm Brad Denton. For a final time, reminding you our final score, the Plano Wildcats 35 and the Hebron Hawks 14. You've been listening to Hebron Hawk Football, a production of Champion Sports Radio. Until next time, so long, everybody.